Are we live? Hello, YouTube. How you doing? How you doing? Well, it's our 100th show, guys. 100 live shows in, what, 8 months? Round about that? What does that work out to per week? I have no idea. Quite a bit. Quite a bit. Yeah, I was just over on the crime, coffee area of the internet. I think we should feel very fortunate in our chat group, guys. Like a lot of our guys go over to Crime and Coffee. I see a lot of familiar faces, guys. But then there's all these other people talking shit. There was this one guy, Gabe, who was saying, yeah, I'm just over on Court TV right now, and everyone on Court TV is saying that Wendy Adelson is innocent because she's so pretty. What kind of argument is that? I've never seen anyone on this on these comments make a stupid comment like that. I'd love to see them try. I would gladly run them down in my car. You know, we don't play like that around here. Anyway, what are we doing tonight? We're going to have a look at Katherine Magbanua's testimony, the mastermind herself, the one who set the whole thing up, set up the Adelsons, set up the murder of Dan Markel, threw Sigfredo and Lewis under the bus, and took all the money for herself. That greedy genius. That greedy goddamn genius. Hey, Kazza T, what you doing up? What you doing up, Kazza? You've been drinking all that chai. Man, Crime and Coffee. Yeah, I like the show. I like the show. Long, definitely long. I went to sleep with it on, and I woke up, and it was still on. I think I had a dream about her. How many dreams have I had now? Crime and Coffee, Fancy Fiction, and Georgia Kappelman. That has to be the best one right there. Why has that only happened once? Maybe I need to go to sleep playing Georgia's closing argument or something. Maybe she'll come back and visit me in my dream. You know, it was nothing untoward. She was just asking me some questions in the courtroom, in her full garnet suit. It's fantastic. Anyway, how do we share this screen? Welcome everybody in the chat. Welcome to the 100th show. Oh, edit when that happens. Okay, sharing the screen, browse.
Witness may be seated. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth? I do. You may take your seat.
Yeah, I think we've heard that one before, Katie, more than once. What's the point? I think that our whole justice system, when I say our, I mean humanity, needs to revisit this thing with the oath. You know, does anybody give a shit anymore? Does anyone say that with any ounce of credibility whatsoever? We see so many liars go, yeah, I swear, yeah. I swear by Almighty God to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Please speak loudly and clearly.
Yes, Your Honor. Ma'am, please say your name and...
JC, what do I think of Dan Rashbaum? Well, I think he's a little midget muffin fuckhead. With monkey hands. The midget muffin fuckhead with monkey hands. But we'll get to him. He's going to do his best to do a fiery cross-examination of his key witness to object to, Katherine Magbanua. Remember, she's the one who ran her mouth to the Latin kings, heard the joke, heard the $1 million offer, and put all of this master plan together in her mind to set Charlie up. You know, even though after when he was convicted, he didn't mention her once on the phone, even idiot friend Janice, who's only interested in taking a couple of TVs and doesn't know how to look after a dog, was like, well, if you were telling the truth, then you've got to be livid at Katie, right? And Shirley was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot that how angry I should be at the person I claimed set me up and got me life in prison and took all my money and ruined my life and ruined my family's life and killed my brother-in-law that I thought was all right, that I would have had a beer with but never did.
Spell your name.
Katherine Magbanua, Katherine Magbanua.
I see that you're in jail clothes. Are you currently in custody?
Yes, ma'am.
What are you in custody for?
The murder.
Are you doing a sentence for murder?
Yes, ma'am.
You were convicted of murder?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that the murder of Dan Markell?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a trial in your case?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you testify?
Yes, ma'am.
You testified on your own behalf.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And when you testified, were you truthful with the jury?
No, ma'am. I was not.
Did you take the same oath that you just took today in your own trial?
Yes, ma'am.
What was your defense when you were tried?
That I had nothing to do with it.
All right. That we got it right in reference to Charlie Adelson and we got it right in reference to the killers,
Yes,
but you
ma'am.
weren't in the middle.
Yes, ma'am.
Was that true?
No, ma'am. It was not.
Were you in the middle?
Yes, ma'am. I was.
And didn't you also testify in the trial in which Sigfredo Garcia was convicted of murder?
Yes, ma'am. I was.
And what was his defense?
That he had nothing to do with it.
That we got it right in reference to Charlie Adelson and we got it right in reference to the killers, but he had nothing to do with it.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Objection, Your Honor. Read.
Overruled, Ms. Kellerman, make sure you use any questions.
And was that defense truthful?
Kappelman's having fun here, isn't she? You know, she's pleased to have Katie on the stand, but she's still like, remember me? Remember me that prosecuted you twice and won and took away everything that you love and found justice for Dan Markell? Remember me that did all that? Here I am. Hello, everybody in the chat. Rayanne, Deborah, Carrie, Ritz, Neverly, Colleen, YouTube reply, Rabbit Inc., JC, Christina, yeah, Rabbit, Normal Rabbit, Main Rabbit, Rabbit 1. Good to see you. And Brian.
No, ma'am. It was not.
So Sigfredo Garcia was involved.
Yes, ma'am. He was.
So why tell the truth now?
I believe that the truth needed to come out now.
Why doesn't she just say the truth? She could say the truth and not damage her credibility. She could say, listen, I've got a life sentence plus 30 years. This is the last card I have. I'm hoping that if I finally confess everything, that you will grant me some form of clemency. I know you haven't made a deal with me, but if I say nothing and maintain my silence, there's definitely not going to be a deal. If I come clean and just tell you everything I know, maybe you'll throw me a bone. But I have no other cards left. I've been through 2 trials. So what do you want to know? I will answer any question you have, because what else have I got to lose? I've lost everything. My kids, my life, my hope, my future, my tits.
So that the family can get some type of closure.
Why didn't the truth need to come out last year or the year before or the year before that?
I was trying to defend myself.
Yeah, I was trying to defend myself. Well, what does that mean? You were trying to get off, lady. Okay. Oh, I really thought that the family needed to be made whole. That damages the credibility to my mind.
You were trying to get off.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you think you'd be successful in your trial with that defense?
I thought so.
Has anyone promised you anything for your testimony here today?
No, ma'am.
Weren't you originally offered immunity for cooperation in this case?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
But you didn't take us up on that
No, ma'am, I didn't.
because you thought you could get off completely.
Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
And now you're doing a life sentence.
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Did Charlie Adelson threaten to harm you if you told the truth?
No, ma'am, he didn't threaten me.
Did anybody threaten you to keep your silence?
No, ma'am.
Did anybody promise you anything if you remained silent all these years?
I wasn't promised anything, but I wasn't promised anything.
Go ahead, finish your thought. You weren't promised anything, but what?
Yeah, JC. I saw the pre-trial hearing at Donna's case. We covered it on this channel. We did a fantastic live coverage of this channel. If you haven't seen our coverage, check it out because we had some great comments on there, JC. But yeah, George's green jacket. Also, Sarah Dugan, yesterday we had a look at her opening statement in Charlie Adelson's trial, and she has the same jacket. Or she might have just borrowed it from Georgia. Personally, I think they should do the whole thing in matching outfits. The twins of justice. I would just love the opportunity to have a look through Georgia Kappelman's wardrobe, or I bet she's got a walk-in closet. That'd be fantastic. Can you imagine the garments in there? Fantastic garments, the jackets, the suits, quality gear. Everything she wears is fantastic.
I thought everything was going to be okay.
You thought you'd be acquitted.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, did you know Dan Markell?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did you have any personal beef with him?
No, ma'am, I did not.
What was your motivation for becoming a part of this murder plot?
Financially.
So not as a favor to Charlie Adelson?
Objection, Your Honor. The objection.
I'll rephrase it, Your Honor. Was it a favor to Charlie Adelson?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Okay, but your primary motivation was not favor to Charlie Adelson?
Well, yes, ma'am, it was. And financially.
All right, because you were going to get paid for your
Yes.
part?
Yes,
How much
ma'am.
did you get paid?
I don't know the exact amount.
What was your relationship to Charlie Adelson?
He was my ex-boyfriend.
When did you meet him?
I believe that was in 2013.
Do you know what month?
Has to be around September.
Can you point him out and describe what he's wearing?
He's sitting over there with a blue jacket and a blue tie.
Let the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant.
The record will reflect.
Show you what are marked as states 48.
You know, in the very few moments that they look at each other, they must think, man, we got in over our heads, didn't we? I'm doing life. You're going to be doing life. No chance of parole. No real hope of appeal. Nothing. These Tallahassee law busters have got us good. Maybe we should have just not bothered with this whole thing and sat by the grotto pool.
You recognize this exhibit?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
How do you recognize it?
We could have been taking the Ferrari out to Skyline Chili for a bowl of chili. We could both eat out of the same bowl like Lady and the Tramp.
That's when we went to Key West.
Is that a fair and accurate photo of you and Charlie Adelson?
Yes, ma'am, it
Is
is.
that when the two of you were taken when the two of you were dating?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, at this time, I ask to move into evidence states 48.
Okay, objection.
No objection, Your Honor.
48 is admitted.
Do we have that for publication? So was this photo taken before or after the murder?
Before.
Who came up with the idea to kill Dan Markel?
Charlie.
So Sigfredo Garcia didn't come up with the idea?
No, ma'am, he did not.
Luis Rivera didn't come up with the idea?
No, ma'am, he did not.
When did the defendant first bring this idea up to you?
My first recollection was around Halloween of 2013.
Around Halloween or on the actual?
On Halloween, yes, ma'am.
All right. What's your recollection of how that came up?
We were at a Halloween party in Lincoln Road, and right before we were about to go, he got in the car with me and he asked me a question.
What was the question?
Do you know anybody that can harm someone?
And did you know anybody that could harm someone?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Who was that?
Sigfredo.
And at the time, what was your relationship with Sigfredo?
Wasn't the best.
But he was the father of your children, right?
Yes, ma'am. He,
So were you dating both men at this time, or were you only dating
no,
Charlie?
I was only dating Charlie.
And so he meaning the defendant initially said, do you know anyone that could harm someone? Was he aware of your connection to Sigfredo Garcia when he made
No.
that statement?
Not that I know of. No, ma'am.
Did you suggest Sigfredo Garcia at that time to the defendant?
No, ma'am.
What did you say?
I just said yes and kind of left it alone.
All right. Did it go any further than that at that time?
Not that night. I don't
Did
believe
you
so.
know who he wanted harmed
Did
at that time?
no, ma'am.
All right. Had you become aware during the course of your relationship with him that he had some kind of issue going on with his sister's ex-husband?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
What did you learn about that?
He was just stating that his mom and dad was stressed and that his sister was having problems with her husband and custody of her 2 children.
And when did you learn that the person that the defendant wanted harmed was this ex-husband of the sister?
I believe later on.
All right. And when did you learn the name Dan Markel?
It wasn't until, I don't know if it was on my trial or when Sigfredo got arrested.
Okay, so even when he was killed, you didn't know the name of the person that was being killed.
Yes, I never knew his name.
How did the defendant refer to this person, if not by the name Dan or Danny Markel?
Wendy's husband.
So you knew that the person that was going to be initially harmed was Wendy's husband.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and
Georgia, the term is roughed up. Do you know anyone that can rough someone up?
you knew that there were issues, or what did you know about the beef with him?
He painted this picture that this was a terrible man and making his family go through a lot custody-wise.
You know, I really believe this element to it, not to excuse her actions and this and that, but Charlie would have painted a picture to Katie completely false about Dan Markel, right? He's a terrible man. He's an abusive psycho. He won't let us have our own way. We're trying to take his kids and he's got a problem with it, but he's got to go.
With his sister.
Right. And when he would say these things to you, is it in the context of his mom specifically or his family in general?
I believe it was more towards his mom.
Meaning what?
That his mom hasn't been sleeping, his mom is not eating. I know his dad wasn't the best health either, but he would refer to his mom a lot.
All right. And the reason she wasn't sleeping or eating, did that have to do with this ex-husband of Wendy?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever tell the defendant who it was that was going to be doing the job?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Why didn't you say the name Sigfredo to Charlie Adelson?
I always referred to each other as my friend. Neither one of them wanted to really hear each other's names.
And why is that?
Because Sigfredo was the father of my kids, and I was dating him at that time. I was dating Charlie at that time.
Okay, so Sigfredo Garcia, did he have strong feelings about the defendant?
Yes, he didn't like him.
All right, and is that because you were dating him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and vice versa, you're not going to talk about the child's father with the new boyfriend either?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So is it true then that you were sort of walling these two off from each other before the issue of the murder and the conspiracy ever even arose?
Yes, ma'am.
And did that pattern continue throughout the murder conspiracy?
Yes, ma'am, it did.
Do you think Charlie Adelson knew that it was your child's father that you were going to?
He might have had an idea, but he just never said it out loud.
There's one phone call between, I think it's from Sigfredo Garcia to Harvey Adelson, the father of the defendant. Do you know anything about that phone call? That was on July 1st of 2014.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you know about that phone call?
From the trial, what I remember was that Sigfredo had contacted or was trying to contact Charlie, but we were in a heated argument at that time. We were kind of in the middle of the street, and I guess it's the first thing he looked up was his work number.
All right, so you say you're in a heated argument. Is this the confrontation that occurred while you and the defendant were going jet skiing?
I believe that was after.
It was after that incident?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, how many interactions personally, face to face, did, to your knowledge, Charlie Adelson have with Sigfredo Garcia?
That was probably the only one that I remember was that jet ski accident.
Accident?
Or like the confrontation.
All right, tell us what happened at that confrontation.
Sigfredo had just picked up the kids, and he was eating at a corner pizza place with the kids, and he saw that Charlie was coming by to go pick me up, and I guess saw the jet skis in the back of the car. So he loaded up the kids and cut us off, was screaming a couple things out loud, but we didn't really hear anything because our windows was up.
All right. Did you say he cut you off? Do you mean in traffic?
In the back street of where I lived at that time.
All right. And when you say he cut you off, did he run you off the road or something else?
He kind of just went right and blocked the road in front of us. So Charlie had to kind of do a 3-point turn.
Sigfredo had jet ski envy. You know, Sigfredo doesn't have a jet ski, but you know he wishes he does. He did. You know, he's always seen himself on a jet ski with a beautiful Filipino girl on the back, you know. Just couldn't take it anymore.
And go around the other way.
Did the two men actually get out into the street and confront each other?
No, ma'am, they did not.
Okay. Were any actual words exchanged through the windows?
Through the windows, yes, but I had my window up, so we didn't know what Sigfredo was saying.
All right. So Sigfredo shouted some things out the window. Did Mr. Adelson do the same?
No, he did not.
And what were the things that were shouted out the window? Were you able to hear them or not?
I didn't hear anything.
All right. And at this point, this is July 1st of 2014, the plot is already underway to do this murder, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Does Sigfredo Garcia know that he's doing the murder for Charlie Adelson?
To my knowledge, he might have had an inkling about it, but I don't know. That was never spoken of.
Okay. The killers, and when I say the killers, I'm referring to Garcia and Rivera, knew they were doing something for a lady to get her kids back. Do you know how they knew that information?
I believe it's because of the envelope that Charlie gave me to pass over.
So you didn't relay that information to them that it had to do with a lady and her kids?
I might have mentioned it to Sigfredo, yes.
Okay. So if you mentioned that to Sigfredo, would you be, I guess, were you intentionally trying to characterize this job as being related to someone other than Charlie Adelson?
I believe so, yes.
Is that because Sigfredo Garcia would not have wanted to do anything to help out Charlie Adelson?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So do you think Sigfredo knew that this lady with the kids was somehow connected to Charlie Adelson?
I believe so.
All right. And there was going to be a lot of money paid for this job, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you know anybody else with that kind of money or that might have had that kind of money to get this job for them?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Clarissa raises a good point. Clarissa is convinced Katie is holding back for a reason, can't figure it out. I agree. You know, what is the deal, Katie? She kind of seems to allude herself to the fact that this is all very hard for her to admit and accept. But, you know, you've told us that you've accepted it and you're telling us about this situation. So why don't you just get on with it? But the whole feeling is that she's holding back something. But what? See if we can pick up on anything as we work through it, guys. It's probably my only second or third time watching this examination because it's a little boring, right? And Katie's a bit annoying. I preferred watching Katie when she was in her own trials. But it is what it is.
All right. You mentioned the paper. Luis Rivera said there was a paper that Sigfredo had when they came to do the murder. Do you know anything about that paper?
No, ma'am, I don't.
All right. Did you provide a paper to Sigfredo Garcia?
Yes, I did.
All right. And when you say you don't know anything about it, but you gave it to him, you obviously know something about it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So tell us I know what you're trying to say is you don't know what was on the paper.
The content of it. Yes.
Tell us how you got the paper.
100 people in the stream on our 100th show, guys. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, every single 100 of you.
One moment. Mr. Rochford. Sustain, Ms. Kappelman, please use open-ended questions.
Tell us how you came into possession of this paper that the killers had.
Okay. One day, just a random night that I was over at Charlie's house, he had a manila envelope that was sealed. He told me, Katie, do not open it. Do not touch it. Do not look inside it. I didn't print this paper out from my office, printed it probably from another office, and basically give that paper to the other person.
All right. And who is saying this?
This was Charlie.
We talk about Columbo here and there on these shows. And that little scene that conjures up in your mind there, Charlie going to another office, printing out the piece of paper, handling it with gloves, putting it in a manila envelope. Doesn't that just sound like the beginning of a Columbo episode? I can see that. That's exactly the sort of plot and planning that the killer would do in a Columbo episode, right?
All right. This defendant.
Yes, ma'am.
So he says to you, I have this paper. How does he give it to you?
I had a diaper bag, so he showed me the envelope, and I was like, just put it in there.
Did he express any concerns about fingerprints being on the envelope or the contents?
Yes, ma'am. He said he wore a glove so that there's no fingerprints on it. He was very specific about me not opening it and not looking inside it. And he also told me that he didn't print it from his office.
All right. And what about licking the envelope?
And that he didn't lick the envelope.
He said he did not lick the envelope?
He did not lick that.
And what was the purpose of that?
I guess his DNA.
Okay. So did you touch the envelope?
It was in my diaper bag, but I don't remember if I never opened it, but I might have touched it just to stick it inside in my diaper bag.
And did you deliver the envelope to Sigfredo Garcia?
I must have contacted Sigfredo and just told him, hey, come by the house. And then, he was kind of in and out of my life. So He'd pop up. He literally got the envelope. I was like,
You know, I don't know if you could possibly think of a something to put this envelope that everyone's so paranoid about DNA. Don't lick the envelope. Handle it with gloves. Print it in a different office. And then you put it in a diaper bag, which is probably the most DNA-filled possible kind of bag that there could ever be, right? You might as well just take your toothbrush and start rubbing the envelope with your toothbrush and getting all the DNA, all over it. I mean, if the whole thing is DNA, why are you putting it in a diaper bag?
you have something inside that bag. And then he grabbed it, stuffed it in his pants, and left.
Okay. In regards to the June trip that the killers made, did you provide Garcia or Rivera with any money for expenses
Yes, ma'am.
associated with that trip?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And where did you get the money from to do that?
From Charlie Adelson.
Can you tell us about that? What was the context of you getting that money?
Sigfredo would just ask me, hey, I'm going to need some money. I need to go out of town. And I'm like, okay. So then I'd go to Charlie, or I'd be at Charlie's house, and I'll tell him I need some money for the expenses.
And he gave you some money?
Yes, ma'am.
About how much money, if you know?
I can't recall, but it was a couple $100.
So this thing started back in October of 13 and doesn't get done until July of 14. Can you describe whether there's any pressure as time is going on and this thing is not getting done?
Trying to.
Clarissa, Columbo is the best. I've seen every episode. And it's so funny in this story because a rich jet ski riding dentist and the family that think that they're above everyone else. It's so similar to the kind of characters that would be involved in a Columbo story, right? They're always elite figures that look down on scruffy Columbo and think that they're smarter than him, right? It fits so well. In my mind, I just reimagine this whole story with Columbo coming in. It's fantastic. Why can't we just make that happen? We need to bring Peter Falk back from the dead and remake that show.
Remember, like in the beginning of the year, I don't think there was really much. I mean, he's been planting this seed in my head.
People are always going on about, oh, do you think this story will be made into a movie? Oh, I think this story would make a fantastic Netflix series. No, just make a new episode of Columbo. But, you'd never get anyone to replace Peter Falk. It has to be him, and he's dead.
That this needed to get done. This needed to get done. And I guess towards probably around June, July is when he was a little bit more adamant about this job getting done.
Okay. And when you say he, you're talking about who?
Charlie.
Did you ever have any contact with any other Adelson about this job?
No, ma'am.
In the context of, this needs to get done, this pressure getting put on you, is there ever a mention of the mom, Donna, or the divorce situation in the context of getting it done?
At that time, not that I could recall.
Will you publish 35, please?
Very key takeaway, guys. Did you ever have any contact with any other Adelson about this job? Now, I know that there's some chit chatter going around about Wendy and Katie were closer than appears, and that maybe Wendy was talking to Katie about this job. I cannot wait to put together my case to disprove that theory. Wendy had no involvement. Wendy probably never even spoke one word about this. Somehow was involved with all the planning and blah, blah, blah. But basically, no. And I have good authority on it. And I just need to find the time and find the right temperature. It's just too hot to do things in the day. I cannot think. Yeah, and then, yeah, but we will get there, folks. We will get there. And on that subject, we were going to have a special guest on the program tonight. Leo from 544 Camp Street got in touch today. He's resurfaced, but Alaska is a good 9 hours time difference from Portugal, so it's kind of hard to match up our schedules. Yeah, but it's Labor Day tomorrow, so maybe we'll get together tomorrow. But yeah, that'll be interesting to raise some points for discussion with 554.
Is this you on the left side of the screen?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Right. And where was this picture taken?
And also, Grish. Grish really caught my attention when he put out a video that was extremely well done about this picture, and he made a very compelling argument. And he pretty much sold me at the time. But in retrospect, I believe that I disagree with his opinion. And that's okay. I don't need to convince him. And it's okay to have different opinions. I have total respect for the guy. Puts a lot of work into his videos. But I would like the opportunity to, put out my belief about this picture, which differs from his. Just in the nature of constructive exploration, sharing ideas. Yeah, we'll be putting that out real soon. Hopefully this week, guys. This week.
This was in South Beach. I believe the building that they were living at.
Oh, that voice, huh? This was in South Beach. Why would anyone talk like that? This was in South Beach.
It is.
Right. And where was this picture taken?
This was in South Beach. I believe the building that they were living at.
And isn't that just like fingers on the chalkboard, man?
This was in South Beach. I believe the building that they were living at where Charlie's parents were living at.
Is that the Icon?
I don't think that was an Icon. It was somewhere in First and Ocean.
Okay, so different residence.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And this photo, was this the first time you'd ever met Wendy, or had you already known Wendy before this photo?
I met her one time prior to this because I believe this was in Father's Day. So I met her around spring break when I had dinner with her and Jeffrey.
Okay. So the Yardbird restaurant?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So this was the second time.
Hey, parabéns, ramble on. Someone's been learning Portuguese. You already know more than Wendy Adelson. Yeah, we've got her curriculum vitae. Wendy Adelson's curriculum vitae. And apparently she speaks Portuguese, which I severely doubt. And also Lugandan, which is what they speak in Uganda. Okay, I bet that's funny to listen to.
You'd met her.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a relationship with her outside of her being Charlie's sister?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did you communicate with her by phone or through any apps or anything like that?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did you receive any communication from her specifically about the homicide?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did Wendy ever give you any money or other gifts?
No, ma'am, she did not.
Did anybody pay you for your part in the murder other than Charlie Adelson?
No, ma'am, they did not.
All right. And the payments from Charlie Adelson, did those include the checks that were signed by his mother from
Yes,
the
ma'am.
Adelson Institute?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Did you perform any job at the Adelson Institute?
No, ma'am, I did not.
You didn't go up there and clean on the weekends?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Absolutely, Kerry B. Grish's hypotheses are fun and they're certainly compelling. But my feeling is that there's just so much information in this story. There's so much, he loves to go through the cell phone records, right? I've seen that a number of times. And there's so much information available in this story that you could almost come up with anything, any theory, and have enough dots to connect to make an incredibly compelling argument. So, that's my opinion. I don't know if it's the most popular opinion, but it's mine. Yeah, I'm not totally sold on some of the stuff he puts out, although I do really think it's great and I like it and it's enjoyable.
On the night of the murder, did you go to the defendant's house?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And where was that house, or what house was that?
That was in Whale Harbor in Fort Lauderdale.
All right. And did you get payment for the murder that night?
I believe it was the following morning.
Were you in a panic when you arrived at his house?
Was I in a panic?
In a panic.
I wasn't in a panic, but Charlie was.
Okay. Explain that. How was he acting?
When I opened the door, he was kind of frantic and he had a gun in his hand and he was just all over the place.
Was that normal behavior for him?
Not having a gun in his hand, no, ma'am.
All right. Did you know him to have a gun prior to that?
Yes, ma'am. He has a gun safe.
All right. But he just didn't usually carry around in his hand?
Yeah, he's never had it in his hand.
Turn the phone off, please.
Absolutely, Lolly. Nothing against Grish whatsoever. Very compelling ideas, very interesting arguments. It's just a little overcomplicated sometimes. I don't think real life always has to be so overcomplicated. Sometimes it's pretty simple, right?
What was he saying to you when he was in this frantic state?
I can't really recall because he had given me some Xanax, so it was a little blurry that night, and I just fell asleep. I think we both fell asleep. So,
All right. Can you tell the jury whether the excitement that he was showing had to do with the murder or something else?
yes, ma'am, it had to do with that.
Okay. Was anybody else there at his residence when you arrived?
At that day, no, ma'am.
Okay. Did you ever see his parents at the residence?
No, I didn't see his parents.
How was the money packaged when you got it? I think you said you got it the next morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It
How was
was-
it packaged?
It was in a plastic. The money was in a plastic bag, like a Ziploc bag, that was inside a brown bag, and then like a grocery bag over it.
And was the money stapled?
Ian, he's back. Because Crime and Coffee's not on tonight. Ian now lives in Crime and Coffee, guys. It's his favorite place. How you doing, Ian? Good to see you, man.
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Can you explain how it was stapled? Like what size bills and what increments were stapled together?
I believe it was stapled in, I never counted it, but it was like in a stack and it was stapled in the corner.
All right. Were they $100 bills or something else?
They were $100 bills and there was some 20s and 50s.
Okay. And was the money damp?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Explain what what you mean to the jury.
A couple days after that, I went and I opened the bag and I called Sigfredo and I told him, I was like, there's mold on this money. And he's like, well, blow dry it. And I was like, but why would there be mold on the money? And he's just, I don't know, just blow dry it. So I believe his parents or his mom might have washed the money.
You mean like physically wash the money?
Yes, ma'am.
And why do you think his mom did it?
Because he was always adamant about telling me he didn't have any money in his house. And he told me that his parents had just stopped by right before I got there. So all of a sudden he had money to put in the trunk of my car the
Was
following
the
morning.
money, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
I'm sorry.
Was the money already sorted out and packaged when you first saw it, or was he doing that?
No, it was already stacked and sorted out.
Okay. And did he have to, so he didn't have to go anywhere to get the money. He already had it when you arrived.
Yes, ma'am.
Was there any argument that night about the money or the next morning?
With me and Charlie?
Yes.
No.
Did you, I guess you did stay there that night? You may have already said that.
Yes, I fell asleep.
Was there any argument with the defendant at all about anything that night?
No, ma'am. Not that I can recall.
Did you threaten him in any way?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Judge, maybe you could sidebar. Sorry.
You may continue with your examination.
Hey, thanks so much for the super sticker, Esmeralda. Thank you very much.
Did you, the night that you went to get the money, did you threaten Charlie Adelson in any way?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did you try to extort money out of him?
No, ma'am, I did not.
The money that he gave you, is that something that had already been discussed or agreed upon in reference to this homicide?
Well, I believe yes, because it was going to be payment for this.
You weren't, well, were you sent with a message from Sigfredo to tell him he better give it up or else?
No, ma'am.
Did you relay to the defendant that his family was in danger if he didn't give you whatever it was you were asking for?
No, ma'am.
How did Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera get paid for their part in this murder?
That morning, when I woke up, I was like, oh my God, I gotta go. So I drove back down and I was trying to look for Sigfredo and having a hard time that morning. And then eventually I made it to the alleyway of where Luis's building was.
Was that on
North Miami,
yes,
in like 135th.
where he lived with Jessica?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
And I was just waiting in the car and all of a sudden Sigfredo just like popped up and got inside the passenger seat.
All right, so they got their money from you.
Yes, ma'am. Sigfredo did.
And Rivera got paid as well, didn't he?
I believe so, yes.
Hey, all you guys in the chat from Crime and Coffee's channel, do you remember this Gabe guy yesterday? Can someone tell me why we've never had someone like that come into this show? What, are they afraid? I'd love them to come in so we can boot them right out. That guy was a dick.
All right, I want to draw your attention to what we're calling the bump. You know what we're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. After the bump and
All right, in shotgun. Gabe was this guy that came into Crime and Coffee show yesterday or last night. And what did he do? He was like, oh, I think everyone just wants to say Wendy is guilty because she's pretty and they're jealous. And then Crime and Coffee was like, show me your receipts. Show me your receipts. And he was like, well, I'm on court TV right now. And they're all saying on court TV that she's innocent because she's pretty. Just like, what is this guy? What is this guy on, man?
the subsequent conversations were occurring, did you have any contact with any other Adelson about the bump other than Charlie Adelson?
No, ma'am.
So you didn't talk to Wendy about it?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Didn't talk to Harvey or Donna about it?
No, ma'am, I did not.
On the Dolce Vita meeting, do you recall what meeting I'm referencing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Was that a restaurant that you met Charlie at after the bump?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In that meeting, and the jury hasn't heard this yet, but he's saying one of two scenarios. This is one of two scenarios. You
Yes,
remember
ma'am.
that?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
What were the one of two scenarios? What were the two scenarios?
What he was speaking of was probably the FBI.
Georgia, don't hand Katie Magbanua a word like scenarios. Man, I'm having PTSD flashbacks to Katie too. He was saying scenarios, different scenarios. He was just talking in scenarios. This was at South Beach. This scenario was at South Beach.
Or Tato blackmailing
And by
Their
Tato,
family.
you mean Rivera.
Louis Rivera. Yes, ma'am.
Were you concerned about that as well?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
And what did you do to try?
We need a ma'am counter as well, guys. Yes, ma'am, I was. No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I was, ma'am. Ma'am, this scenario was at South Beach, ma'am. Okay?
To figure out who it was that had approached Donna Adelson.
I asked Sigfredo.
So he was supposed to be looking into it.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you there whenever he did whatever he did to try to find out who it was?
Was I where?
Were you present when Sigfredo, I guess, went out and talked to people about whether?
No, ma'am, I was not.
Because at that time, was Rivera in custody?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know, Dee. I've been getting some letters from Katie and, written while she's in jail, and they don't come across as someone who is either educated or intelligent. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think Katie is, of all of the culpable people in this story, she is by far the most redeemable and the closest to genuine remorse. And people will say, oh, she's only remorseful because she got caught. No, I believe that she was greedy, ignorant, but was also lied to about how awful Professor Markel was, and because of those lies, more easily justified it and allowed her greed to, become to allow her to put this into action and play her part. That's not to say I think she should be released. She was involved and everything, it's just a shame. I think she's the most redeemable, or the closest to being redeemable in this story. Wendy needs to be thrown into the gorilla enclosure, okay, with Zazu. Charlie, fuck him. Donna, fuck her. Sigfredo and Luis, well, they're just rough, bad hoods, What do you expect? But yeah, I can't get on board with calling her educated or intelligent. That just doesn't fly, especially considering her penmanship.
Ma'am, he was already doing his federal sentence, I believe.
So was the concern that maybe some of his associates might have done this?
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe he had run his mouth about it?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you reviewed what I had marked for U.S. States Exhibit 111, the Dolce Vita recording with the transcript attached?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And does the transcript in that exhibit accurately reflect the words that were said at that meeting between yourself and the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
When the defendant described the bump to you, strike.
Albert, not at this stage. Not at this stage. There's also letters from Donna, believe it or not. But, I'm not going to share anything at this stage. If you think that's a reason to not believe me, be my guest, But, I'd like to develop deeper conversations with these people. And I don't want to compromise that. Yeah, but who knows what happens in the future.
When you were speaking with Charlie Adelson and also Sigfredo Garcia about this bump, did you speak in code?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And what was the purpose of speaking in code?
Kind of just piggyback with what Charlie was speaking to me in codes. So I kind of was like, okay, if he's talking in codes, kind of speaking codes as well.
Was the concern that the calls could be recorded, being
She has a bachelor's degree, but it's a very basic degree in what was it? Yeah, it's a secretary degree, basically, how to type, which she largely did as a correspondence program. I mean, it's nothing special.
being recorded?
My concern was more that I was at work. So I really didn't want to say any phone numbers out loud or speak of what was going on.
I'm going to approach and show you what I've marked as state's demonstrative A. Have you seen this before? I don't know if you have.
No, ma'am, I have not.
All right. And it's got several items listed here as code words with the actual meaning next to them.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you take a moment to and the ones in red are the ones used by you, the ones in yellow are used by Charlie Adelson.
Okay.
Will you review this exhibit and just tell me if it's accurate as far as what the code means?
Yes, ma'am, it's accurate.
Judge, at this time, I'd ask to make use of state's demonstrative A.
Any objection? Yeah, I see it.
Mary Bartlett, what do you think Katie might know about Wendy? Why would she know anything about Wendy? Wendy's been insulating herself thoroughly from day one, you know? I don't believe she has anything on Wendy. Could she receive a lesser sentence? Not much. I mean, I think the best she could ever hope for is maybe getting the very best she could ever hope for is, she got life plus 30 years. So if they took off the life, she'd still have 30 years. I don't believe she'd even get that. But if she did, say that did happen in some imaginary world, she'd be what, in her late 60s when she got out. I mean, I think maybe they'll give her a nicer pillow and a TV and a good job in prison. And maybe they'll move her to a prison near her kids or something like that. I mean, I don't think she's got much coming to her at all. And I don't think she knows shit about Wendy.
All right, Judge, I think we have an agreement with a couple redactions.
Very well. You can go ahead and make those now.
Maybe if I can borrow a Sharpie from the clerk.
Hey, Crime, how you doing? Good to see you. You know, the people that do know something about Wendy are Charlie and Donna. And if something finally clicks for them, if someone is able to convince them or show them or demonstrate them how much Wendy resented them, hated them. I mean, we listened to those calls. We listened to those calls of Donna and Charlie going on about hitting Wendy with pressure and controlling her life and all of that crazy, over the top, dramatic shit. You know, I keep given little clues about how I feel about this, and I believe that part of Wendy's overall plan was always for Dan Markell to be shot, get the boys down to South Florida. There's that chunk of the plan, but also to put Charlie and Donna out of Wendy's life, in jail forever, as a fuck you, mother and brother, for treating me like I was the weak one of the crew and needed help and needed your guidance and your influence and blah, 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 blah. Do you think I'm weak now that I'm walking free and you're in jail for life? It was a huge thing. She doesn't seem to have anywhere near that amount of resentment for Harvey. You know, I think she wanted Charlie and Donna in jail. That's what I believe. And, you know, I'm going to be putting out my case for that, collecting all the evidence that I've been going through and putting it out into one piece of a video. And then all of you guys in the chat, you can see my opinion and then tell me if you believe it or not. But yeah, if Charlie or Donna or both of them are able to get their heads round that and realize that Wendy hates them, set them up, why wouldn't they flip?
Can I publish?
You're right.
All right, so the first one we have is $65.70. And again, jury hasn't heard these calls yet, but when you were talking to Secretary Garcia about $65.70, were you referring to the undercover phone number?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Okay, and then when you're talking to Charlie about an agent, were you talking about, it seems like you're talking about real estate agent, but are you talking about?
It's so funny listening to Charlie talking on the phone in code words, because he almost demonstrates like he's getting this kick out of talking in code or something. So he's got this kind of gleeful thing like, hey, you know that agent? Yeah, that agent who dropped off the paperwork. Is this a good investment? Or will the tenant keep raising the rent? I mean, think about that for a second. The tenant raises the rent? What are you talking about, Charlie? When does that happen?
The undercover agent that approached his mother.
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Right. And the CD, was that reference to a recording that the Adelsons made of their contact with the undercover?
A recording of their contact with them,
Yes.
that they were being recorded?
No, that they called the undercover phone
Yes,
number
ma'am.
and recorded it.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever actually hear that recording?
No, ma'am, not until my trial.
And then the client, there's a lot of discussion about this client or this tenant. You need to find out if this is going to be a good tenant or a bad tenant.
Yes, ma'am.
Was the tenant this person, if it really was a blackmailer, this thug that's somehow affiliated with Rivera?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, the false lead or the phishing, what is that? What did that mean? There's a lot of discussion about, I hope it's just some.
Hey, Crime and Coffee, when are we doing our collaboration? I want to explore some ideas with you. Love the show. Love the show.
Somebody phishing. You remember that?
From the phone calls?
Yes, this is all from the phone call.
Yes, ma'am.
It was one of the two scenarios that it could be law enforcement.
Yes, ma'am. But this was Charlie basically saying this the whole time. He's the one who's coming up with all the scenarios.
Okay, but when he's talking about the scenarios, he's talking about phishing.
Yes,
He
ma'am.
doesn't say law enforcement phishing.
No, ma'am.
He says it could be, a tenant.
Yeah, all you guys in the chat who want to see a True Crime Metrics Crime and Coffee collaboration, drop some hearts in the comments. Or bundles of cash.
Or a patient or something like that.
Anything but what?
Judge, I'm just going to object to deleting. Please rephrase your question.
Ms. Kappelman, sustained.
About the listing or the properties, what did that refer to?
About the paperwork. It's pretty
Like
accurate.
looking into a listing.
Yes, the listing, because I worked in a real estate agency at that time. So he was just telling me, look into the listing. Oh, this will be a good investment. So it was really Charlie saying all these words.
What did the good and what might the good of, can't talk, what might the good investment have been?
If he had a good lead.
If it was a blackmailer that
Yes.
you could pay off.
Yes, ma'am.
Objection, Your Honor, leading.
Overruled.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay. All right, we talked about the two scenarios. The paperwork, what was that?
That was the paper that was handed to his mom by the undercover.
On the Dolce restaurant meeting, we see Charlie Adelson pull out a piece of paper. Was
Yes, ma'am.
that the actual piece of paper that was handed to his mother?
I believe so. I just never saw it. He never showed it to me.
Hey, thanks so much for the contribution, Bob from accounting. This collaboration is going to cost about $5. Good one, Bob.
Okay, did he give you a phone number off of that piece of
He
paper?
did. That was that phone number that we just can't seem to get right.
Yes,
The 6570.
okay.
Yeah, but I'm actually looking forward to Daniel Rashbaum's cross-examination here. The only way you're getting out of jail, ma'am, is in a box. I'm starting to really be able to predict Rashbaum's antics in court. I think Judge Everett is getting a little bored with the whole song and dance, like a chimpanzee with a bad bladder bouncing around the courtroom.
At any time
What did we call him at the beginning of this? The midget muffin man fuckhead.
after, I know we talked about the night of the money, that you got the money. But at any time after that, did you ever blackmail Charlie Adelson?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did you ever threaten him in any way?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did you relay any threats on behalf of Sigfredo Garcia?
No, ma'am, I did not.
did anyone ever make you extort any money or other favors out of Charlie Adelson?
No, ma'am.
Before the murder, had you bragged to Garcia and or Rivera about my new rich boyfriend?
I didn't even know he had money like that.
Well, I mean,
He had a good job and, he had a nice house, but I wasn't aware of how, how much money he has.
Okay, but he definitely had more than Sigfredo Garcia.
Oh, yes, ma'am, he did.
Okay, and did you brag to Garcia like, oh, I got a new, better guy?
I'm pretty sure he saw that I was happy and I was, going out to dinners and hanging out with him. So.
Okay. But did you tell them specifically he's got a lot of money?
No, I did not.
Did you tell them specifically he's got this issue with his sister's ex-husband?
I believe I mentioned it. Yes,
Okay.
I did.
And when you talked to them about he's got this issue with the sister's ex-husband, was that in the context of hiring them to do the murder or just in...
Just in general.
Okay, so they were aware that he had this issue.
Well, Sigfredo was, yes.
Okay. Did you ever talk to Rivera about it?
No, I did not.
Okay, we're having a poll, guys. Who just asked that question? Kaza T, you've inspired a poll. We're going to be putting up a poll for Georgia's outfits. Okay.
Okay. And when you talk
Leave it with me, guys.
to Sigfredo about it, did he ever say, well, I think I'll just drive to Tallahassee and kill the guy or anything like that?
No, ma'am, he did not.
Is that something he would have mentioned to you if that was his idea?
Sigfredo doesn't say a lot of things to me, and he likes to keep a lot of things away from me. So he would have never asked me that or told me that.
Okay. But in this case, I guess, okay. So is it possible that Sigfredo and Rivera came to Tallahassee and did this killing without any communication from you or Charlie Adelson, just on their own?
No, ma'am.
And then
That would
extorted Charlie Adelson through you to get money because they had killed the guy?
No, that'd be impossible. How would they have any information?
Well, they could have seen it on the internet.
No. I don't think so.
When you were talking about Wendy's husband and the problems with him to Sigfredo Garcia, I know you've already said this, but I just want to be crystal clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you say the name Dan Markel?
No, ma'am. I never knew Dan Markel's name.
How was the name Dan Markel, the location and name of the target for this killing, provided to the killers?
I believe it was all the information that was given to Sigfredo, which I got from Charlie, was all in that paper.
Paper provided by this defendant?
Yes, ma'am. Inside the envelope.
May I have a moment to confer?
Go ahead.
No further questions.
Cross-examination.
Thank you.
Okay, strap in, folks. Muffin Man, what was it? Midget Muffin Man Fuckhead is about to take the lead. That's a nice touch, Crime and Coffee. Georgia wearing an owl shirt under her blazer. When cross-examining Wendy.
Now, you were arrested and charged with the murder of Professor Markel on October 1, 2014. I'm sorry, 2016, correct?
Yes, sir.
Almost immediately, the state talked to your lawyers and offered you full immunity, a get out of jail free card, right?
I don't know if that was immediately.
Pretty soon after you got arrested, you were offered to cooperate against Charlie Adelson and the other Adelsons, and you would get to go home to your kids, right?
Yes, sir.
And your lawyers told you about that offer.
Yes, sir, they did.
You also saw an interview on TV while you were in jail in which one of the prosecutors mentioned this immunity offer, right?
Yes, sir.
You have 2 kids who are your world, right?
Yes, sir.
If you took the state's deal, then you would have been let out of jail immediately, right? That's what your lawyers told you.
If I took their deal? Yes, sir.
But you didn't take the offer.
No, I didn't.
Instead, you stayed in jail for 3 years before your first trial, right?
Yes, sir.
You stayed in jail through COVID after your first trial hung.
Yes, sir.
You still didn't cooperate. The deal was still open, right?
Well, the deal was to give up Charlie.
And you couldn't do that.
Because in order to give up Charlie, I had to give up Sigfredo, the father of my children. So I couldn't do that.
So while you're in jail, sitting in jail.
Okay, D asks, how could you not know Charlie had a lot of money when he kept a refrigerator-sized safe in his bedroom? Yeah, but that could be for anything, D. He might have been collecting baseball cards.
During COVID, you knew there was still a deal possibility open for you, right? You could still take a deal. Your lawyers told you that.
Before COVID, after my mistrial?
Yes.
I believe so.
And you still didn't take the deal, right?
No.
And Charlie Adelson didn't force you to take the deal, not take the deal, right?
No, I had no communication with Charlie.
He didn't pay for your attorneys.
He didn't pay for my attorneys, but there was word that my brother declined him paying for my attorneys.
Ma'am.
It had anything to do with.
Good point. It sounds like Charlie would need a safe as big as a refrigerator for his sex toys. They were all over the house. Remember Janice? Oh my God! What the fuck is that?
Him.
I know you have an agenda here, but just answer my questions.
Yes, sir.
Did Charlie Adelson pay for your attorneys?
No, sir, he did not.
Did anyone in the Adelson family pay for your attorneys?
No, sir.
Did anyone in the Adelson family pay any money to your kids?
No, sir.
You had nothing to do with Charlie Adelson, right? After the bump.
No, sir, I did not.
Oh, it's taupe? Taupe? Okay. I've never spelled it out before.
Now, the real reason you didn't cooperate, and you made it clear, is because Charlie Adelson had absolutely nothing to do with the murder of Professor Markel. Isn't that the case?
I didn't cooperate because in order to give up Charlie, I'd have to give up Sigfredo.
Well, let's talk about the testimony in your first trial. And don't worry, we're going to get to your proffers as well.
Okay.
But let's talk about the testimony in your first trial. You were asked, did you get the father of your children, Mr. Garcia, to commit a murder on behalf of Mr. Charlie Adelson? Answer, no, ma'am. Do you recall saying that?
Yes, sir.
You were asked, do you have information that Charlie Adelson was involved in this? Answer, do I have information? I don't have personal information. Do you recall that?
No, sir, I do not.
You don't recall saying that in your first trial?
No, sir, I do not.
Would you like to see a transcript of
Yes,
it?
I will.
I got it, Kate. I'll direct your attention to page 2800, lines 1 through 5.
Please read to yourself, ma'am.
Does that refresh your recollection that that's
Yes.
what you said?
Yes, sir, it does.
During your second trial, do you recall being asked, Charlie didn't ask you to do anything weird? Answer, no, ma'am. Like get someone to get a hitman to commit a murder of his ex-brother-in-law? No, ma'am. Do you recall those questions and that answer?
Yes, sir, I do.
Because you couldn't implicate Charlie, you went to trial, and the first trial hung. Isn't that the case?
Yes, sir.
A few weeks before your second trial, Charlie was arrested.
Yes,
Isn't
sir.
that the case?
Yes, sir.
The state waited and waited and waited for you to cooperate, and then they arrested him on the eve of your trial when you made it clear you weren't going to cooperate, right?
Yes, sir.
So you went to trial the second time, and this time you were convicted.
Yes, sir.
And you were convicted of first-degree murder and other charges, right?
Yes, sir.
A few weeks after your conviction, you were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus another 30 years. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
And you were transferred from the jail in Leon County to the state prison where you would spend the rest of your life, right?
Yes, sir.
Away from your family,
Yes, sir.
away from your children.
Yes, sir.
And you realize that there are only two ways to get out of that prison, right?
What are the two ways?
Well, one way was in a coffin, right?
Yes, sir.
And the other way was cooperating against Charlie Adelson, right?
No, sir. I wanted the truth to finally come out.
What are the only two ways that you can ever get out of prison, Miss Magbanua?
My appeal?
Oh, well, we'll get to that too. You have an appeal pending right now, right?
Yes, sir.
That claims that you're innocent.
Yes, sir.
Let's just make this clear to the jury. Ms. Kappelman has called you as a witness against this man who's presumed innocent. You've just testified that you did a murder, and you have an appeal pending right now in this county claiming your innocence. Isn't that true?
Yes, sir.
Listen, I don't have any, I haven't been to law school. I have no legal training. I study lawyers, I guess. I know for a fact that I could do a better job than this without any preparation whatsoever. I could walk into this courtroom immediately and pull this off better. This is so obvious what he's doing, and so not believable what he's doing. The jury sees straight through this. It is so bad. I'm just amazed that Donna and Charlie, and we haven't really heard Harvey comment much directly. But these people have had money. They've had people on their payroll. They've been hiring people and around powerful people for a long time. They should know what good tactics look like. And it doesn't look like this. This is so bad.
And lo and behold, weeks after you were convicted and sentenced to life with no parole, you went in and met with the state, right?
Yes, sir.
And you met with them not once, but twice.
Yes, sir.
And you met with them for hours,
Yes, sir.
a combined total of around 6 hours, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, we're going to get into that and all the lies that Ms. Kappelman didn't go through with you that you made during those interviews, but let's go back to the first trials first, okay? In each of those trials, you took the stand for your own defense, right?
Yes, sir.
And you took the same oath and looked at different jurors the same way that you look today, right?
Yes, sir.
And in your second trial, not only did you take an oath in this room, but isn't it true that you tried to get Sigfredo to lie for you?
I
No,
love,
sir.
I love how George is looking on at Rashbaum there. Look. Just like, what is this guy doing in my courtroom? This is my competition? Okay.
Oath in this room, but isn't it true that you tried to get Sigfredo to lie for you?
No, sir, I did not.
Isn't it true that you were caught on a recording in the prison in which you were going to have Sigfredo Garcia come into your trial, your second trial, and say that he did the murder with Charlie Adelson?
Yeah, Clarissa, when we read out the motions in limine the other day, there were a couple of things in there that were argued quite well on paper. I'll give him that. You know, but it didn't get through most of it, though, did it? But how it was written on the paper, yeah, I mean, I was almost sold on a couple of points myself. Not really.
All by himself.
No, sir.
You never were on a recording of
Never
that
said
fact.
that.
Your plan at your second trial wasn't to have Sigfredo Garcia testify on your behalf?
No, sir.
Are you aware that your lawyer opened up on that plan? Garcia, we're on a recording of
Never
that.
Tracy, is fancy fiction in the audience? I don't think so. We can't really see this girl's head. Unless it's that one there, no.
said
Fact.
that.
Your plan at your second trial wasn't to have Sigfredo Garcia testify on your behalf?
No, sir.
Are you aware that your lawyer opened up on that plan?
No,
In her
sir, I'm not
opening?
aware. No.
Well, did you sit through the trial?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you sit through the trial when she said to the jury, you're going to hear from Sigfredo Garcia, who's going to say that the murder was between him and Charlie Adelson, and that you're just a victim of having bad taste in men?
He never came up.
He refused to come and testify, right?
I don't know if he refused. He was never called.
Are you aware that you and your lawyer subpoenaed him to come down to Leon County to testify on your behalf?
He was subpoenaed, but he just never showed up.
And he didn't
He
show
never
up?
took the stand.
Right. He was subpoenaed by you.
Oh, that was Mr. Morris. Theme. Hope I said your name right. That was Mr. Morris. Is it Mr. Morris or Morrison?
Correct?
Yes, sir.
And you got on the phone with him. You were caught because you're not supposed to talk to each other, right?
Yes, sir.
But you guys talk to each other because what you do is you call his mom, right?
Yes, sir.
And he calls his mom. Isn't that what you all do?
At that time, yes, sir.
Yeah, you call each other so that you could talk to each other through the mom. And during one of those calls, you asked him to come testify on your behalf. Isn't that what you did?
No, I did not ask him.
Okay. Well, we'll move on to some other lies. During your first trial, you didn't ask Mr. Garcia to help this lady get her kids back in Tallahassee. Answer, no, ma'am. You didn't solicit him to commit a murder of Dan Markel. Answer, no, ma'am. Do you recall those questions and answers?
Yes, sir.
Fancy fiction should be in front of Phil. She's read everything, guys.
You were asked, well, back then, did you know someone by the name of Dan Markel? Answer, no, ma'am. In 2014, you learned that Wendy Adelson's divorce was already finalized, right? I learned that in court. I didn't know it before. Do you remember those
Yes, sir.
those words? Those were lies, right?
Yes, I lied in my trials to save myself.
We'll keep going. You lied when you said that Charlie told you that Professor Markel had been in an accident, right?
I lied that. Say it again, sir.
Well, I'll ask you the questions. Do you remember having a conversation with Charlie Adelson about his brother-in-law being in an accident? Does that sound familiar to you? It
Yeah.
sounds familiar. Yeah, that was a lie, right?
No, that's what Charlie said.
He
That
told
is-
you that he was in an accident. He'd tell you that there was a murder.
No, he told me he was in an accident.
So you didn't know about the murder of Dan Markel on July 18th. Is that what you're telling this jury?
No, not at that time.
When did you find out about the murder of Dan Markel?
It was later on.
Oh, really? So the money that you brought to the guys that Miss Kappelman brought up on opening, the money you brought up to the guys on July 19th, was because Dan Markel was in an accident?
I didn't know that was Dan Markel. Like, I didn't know his name,
Oh,
but there was a murder that happened. Yes.
at the March 11th dinner that you had with Mr. Lacoste at Yardbird, Dan Markel's name wasn't mentioned?
No, sir.
Would it surprise you that Mr. Lacoste has testified to the opposite of that?
No, I haven't seen his testimony.
At your first trial, you were asked, did Charlie mention anything to you about a murder out of Tallahassee? So now it's not Dan Markel. It's just a murder out of Tallahassee. And your answer was no, ma'am. Question, did he mention anything about his ex-brother-in-law being murdered? Answer, no, ma'am. Do you recall those questions?
Yes, sir.
And those were lies, right?
Yes, I told you I lied. I lied in my trials to save myself.
I understand. Please let me keep going through them. There's a lot of them, so we'll take our time.
Yes, sir.
A professional liar like Katherine Magbanua. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. And then he doesn't come back to it. He always does that. But we'll get there. We'll get there. And then abandons the point.
Now, you said you never saw any cash at Charlie's place. Do you recall that at trial?
He had cash, but I didn't know how much he had. I know he keeps cash in his safe.
But I thought you just testified moments ago that you never saw cash at his place. He didn't keep cash at his place. That supposedly his parents had to bring the cash. Isn't that what you just told this jury about 18 minutes ago?
An abundance of cash.
Have you seen his safe?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever seen it open?
Yes, sir.
Doesn't he keep a lot of cash that he collects on the top of his safe?
I mean, I'm not like looking in it, but every single time we used to go out, he used to grab some money from the safe and then take it with him.
Repeatedly during both trials, you said you worked at the Adelson Institute. You never worked at the Adelson Institute,
No,
right?
sir, I did not.
Now we're going to hear about a Lexus.
Yes, sir.
You said you paid for that Lexus. You never paid for that Lexus. Isn't that
I
the case?
paid Charlie cash for that Lexus.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I think the state might disagree. Has the state disagreed with you on that point?
About me paying him cash? Yes, because there was nothing that was coming out of my account, but I paid him cash. I had the cash on me.
During the trial, first trial, you were asked, do you know why it is that Charlie chose you out of all of his ex-girlfriends to call? I don't know why he called me. Do you recall those questions?
Yes, sir.
That was a lie, right?
I told you I lied in my first and second trial to save myself.
Well, let's get to the second trial. Just like you're lying here to save yourself, right?
I'm not saving myself. I'm telling the truth this time.
Right, because now all of a sudden, after 8 years, you have developed a conscience. I think that's what you told the jury.
No, it's because the father of my children was on death penalty at that time on my first trial. So I couldn't give up. If it was just Charlie, like I said from the trial, go ahead and arrest him. Nobody ever did.
He didn't get the death penalty after the first trial, and he was convicted, right?
Yes, sir.
And by the time of his second trial, you had no reason to protect him anymore. He was done.
No, sir. He was under appeal.
Okay, just like you're under appeal now.
Yes, sir.
So what you said to this jury about 20 minutes ago is you said to this jury, I'm here today to tell the truth, and I want to get your exact words. because I want to do the right thing?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it because you want to go home? And that's the only way that you could ever go home, is to help them. That's the only way you can go home, by not being dead.
I was not promised anything. I'm doing this solely on myself. Clearly, you don't even see my attorneys in this room.
Let's talk about the second trial. Again, you lied when you testified that you didn't know anything about or were involved in the murder of Professor Markell, right?
Yes, sir. I told you I lied in my first and second trial to say
So Rashbaum wants the jury to believe that crooked Georgia Kappelman has met with Katie Magbanua and said, listen, we need your help. We need your help to put Charlie falsely in prison for the rest of his life. So if you tell this story like we want it, we'll let you go free. That's what he's asking the jury to believe.
save myself.
Ma'am, we've heard it. If you could just answer the questions. Did
Yes,
you
sir.
lie?
Yes, sir.
You lied when you testified that you knew nothing about Wendy's divorce, Wendy Adelson's divorce.
Yes, sir.
You lied when you said you didn't pick up money from Charlie's
Hey, Birmingham, Alabama, how you doing?
house on July 18th.
Yes, sir.
You lied when you said you knew nothing about stapled cash.
Yes, sir.
You lied when you said you didn't bring the money to Sigfredo or Luis Rivera the next day.
Yes, sir.
You lied again when you said you worked as a personal assistant for Charlie, right?
Yes, sir.
You lied repeatedly when you tried to discuss what had happened, what was being spoken at Dolce Vita, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, now let's talk about the lies that you told that the state didn't go over with you. Let's talk about your proffers, your cooperation.
Who's Ty, Amy? Yeah, I don't know if
Yes.
anybody's had more offensive ties than Daniel Rashbaum. Everyone hates his ties. It doesn't matter which one he wears.
Sir.
So you were interviewed by the state twice in October.
We've still got the votes coming into the Georgia Kappelman wardrobe choice. It's pretty tight. I expected Gator Green to be trumping this, but it's a close second behind FSU Garnet. I guess symbolically that really is the best choice, isn't it? I think the same question for Sarah Dugan. It would be Gator Green, though. She looks fantastic in the green.
In November 2022, correct?
Yes, sir.
And by the way, you've met with them a couple times since then, right?
A couple times,
Have you met with them
After?
since? Yeah, after that point?
probably one time.
You met with Ms. Kappelman?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Did Ms. Kappelman ask you about our defense during that meeting?
No, sir.
She didn't ask you about whether, for the first time, whether you ever threatened
No,
Charlie
sir.
Adelson? Now, when you met with them in October and November of 2022, this was after you got your life sentence, right?
Yes, sir.
And you met with them first in Marion County Jail on October 11th, right?
Marion County Jail? No, sir. I've never been in that county.
You met with them in the jail. I got the wrong jail, obviously.
I've never met with them in any jails.
Where did you meet with them?
I
the
was
first time?
already in DOC
Okay.
in Lowell.
You met with them in prison.
Yes, sir.
Apologies. And the second time, you met with them at the state attorney's office, right? Here in Tallahassee.
Yes, sir.
And both times, Special Agent Sanford was there,
Yes, sir.
Investigator Jason Newland was there,
Yes, sir.
and TPD Investigator Sherry Bennett were there.
Yes, sir.
And they asked you questions.
Yes, sir.
And each time, you told them a version of events that was very different from what you said at your trials, right?
Yes, sir.
In fact, during those 6 hours of interviews, you told him about 5 more versions, right?
5 different versions of it?
Yeah.
No, sir.
Oh, so you told him the same thing throughout the 6 hours that you met with him?
I believe so, but I think the first time you can't even visit more than 2 hours, so I don't know where you're getting 6 hours.
Well, maybe I'm wrong, but let's look. The first interview started at 9:26 a.m. and it ended at 11:44 a.m., so a little over 2 hours.
Yes, sir.
First interview. Your position right now, what you're telling this jury, is that the
Maybe we should switch it up and do some jail calls. I don't know. Let's see how we get on.
same thing you told them in the first interview, you told them in the second interview?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
You believe so or you know so?
I know so.
Or we could go to a bit of Charlie Adelson's testimony. Get his story about the this incident where Katie came to the house and said, "One of my friends, I ran my mouth."
I believe so. I believe
You
so.
absolutely know so.
No, I don't, not verbatim exactly what I said.
Is it true that during the entire first interview, you said you had nothing to do with the murder?
No, sir, I didn't say
What are we saying yes to, guys? Esmeralda, Matilda.
that.
All right, well, we're going to go through exact quotes and we'll see if your memory can be refreshed.
Yes, sir.
By the way, during any of these interviews, did you give them any documentation, anything new, any text messages, documentation, WhatsApps, any new, as people call it, receipts?
Oh yeah, the Adelsons are totally cheap, just misers. Okay, we got Cassandra throwing her. Maybe we should do a poll, guys. Cassandra wants Charlie testimony. Matilda wants jail calls. We're closing our poll. Let's just let that play.
Did you give them any new evidence?
No, I'm in prison. I don't have anything.
It was just your words, right?
Yes, sir.
So let's talk about what you said. During the first proffer, which was a little over 2 hours,
Yes, sir.
you raised your hand and they put you under oath, right?
Yes, sir.
And throughout the proffer, the agents, particularly Special Agent Sanford, kept on telling you that you have to tell the truth, right?
Yes, sir.
He didn't believe you.
I mean, whatever his reasons are.
Was he
No.
frustrated with you during the interview?
Yes, sir.
In fact, 1 hour and 8 minutes into the proffer, he said to you that you were minimizing your involvement.
Hold on. What is the objection?
Hearsay, Your Honor.
Please approach.
So let's go back. Your position, what you've told this jury is you are completely consistent. You told the same story during the entire proffer, right?
I can't, like I told you, I can't remember verbatim what I've said from the first proffer and the second proffer.
Let's just talk about the first proffer.
Yes, sir.
Your view is that from the beginning of the first proffer to the end of the first proffer,
Okay, cast your vote, guys. We got a poll for what we should move on. You know, as much as I mean, it's just not that fun watching Katie Magbanua on the stand. It was pretty dry with Georgia. It's just going through several facts that we all know, and now Daniel Rashbaum is boring me with his antics. So we'll move on. But what to? You decide. You have the power. Let's give it a couple of minutes for some votes to come in, huh? Make sure you cast your vote.
you said the same thing throughout. That's what you're telling this jury.
From the first proffer to the second proffer, that I'm saying the same exact thing. I don't remember verbatim what I've said.
How about from the beginning of the first proffer to the end of the first proffer? What you told the jury is you were consistent from the beginning of the first proffer to the end of the first proffer. Do you recall saying that?
Yes, sir.
Is that still your testimony?
No, I was consistent about it. No, because it was very hard for me to confess what I've done.
So let me ask the question again.
Yes, sir.
Isn't it true that during the first proffer, for the first 1
Wow, it's neck and neck with Charlie's Cross and random jailhouse calls. It's definitely not going to be direct examination. I guess we've all had enough of Rashbound for one day. Yeah, we'll give it 3 minutes from now, guys. Cast your vote. Cast your vote. Start the clock.
Hour and 8 minutes. You continued to say that you didn't murder Professor Markel.
No, sir, I didn't say that.
I don't understand your answer. So let me rephrase.
Okay.
Isn't it true that for the first half of the first proffer, you denied participation in the murder of Professor Markel?
No, sir, I was telling him what happened and how my involvement in it.
So your position.
KLK, the poll should be in the comments. Should be something you can click on. I don't know if you're on a phone or a laptop or what.
Position is that throughout the entire first proffer, you admitted that you participated in the murder of Professor Markel.
Yes, sir.
Judge, may I proceed now? Would it surprise you that 1 hour and 8 minutes into the first proffer, Special Agent Sanford said that you were minimizing your involvement in Professor Markel's murder?
Like he stated, I was minimizing it. It was hard for me to confess everything that I've suppressed for the past 7 years.
11 minutes later, he said that what you were telling him made absolutely no sense. Do you recall him saying that?
No, sir, I did not.
Well, let me see if I can show you. Does this refresh your recollection that Special Agent Sanford said all of it doesn't make sense? I'll withdraw it. Does this refresh your recollection of what Agent Sanford said?
Just the line that you highlighted?
You can read before and after to make sure I'm not doing lawyer tricks.
Yes, sir. Can I?
Of course.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're about ready to close down that poll, guys. 20 seconds left. Oh, it's close. It looks like random jailhouse calls takes the lead, but not by much. Okay. Let's have a look, shall we? How do we do that? Have we done this one? You know, I think I'm gonna take the hit on this, guys, and be the guy to put all of these calls in some kind of logical, easy to find order. I just don't know if anyone's done that yet. Let's try this one.
I was up here. I'm about to do what I was doing. Look, it is what it is.
Have you spoken to Dan since you left?
No, I called you. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something that he told us. You need to talk to him. You need to ask him what.
So this is immediately following the verdict, right?
I'm
As to what you
fine.
tell my parents.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna talk to him, but I'm fine. I'll call you in a little bit. To take it down, relax. Not getting upset, not gonna change anything. So I'm gonna give you a check.
All right. Call Dad, ask him to tell you what he told us, okay?
Listen, I'm fine. Just take something to relax, okay?
All right, we're going to be okay, Charlie. Just please give Dan a call and call us back later, okay?
Please.
Yeah, tell Mom to take something and relax.
I will.
I know what I was dealing with. You can take something.
That must be really big news, huh? Your golden boy, middle child, life in prison, no chance of parole, never getting out. And they still don't have any acknowledgement to how the Markel parents took the news about hearing that their son had his face blown off. You know, no phone calls to Dan.
You don't go crazy and get upset.
Okay. Okay. I love you. We talk a little bit later, okay?
I got full power on my phone. I'll call you guys in a little bit tonight. And that's,
All right. Just call Dad first, okay?
I'm gonna call her in a little bit, but I'm calling Dan first, okay?
Okay.
Love you guys.
Love you, Charlie.
The caller has hung up.
Hey guys.
Hi, Charlie.
So,
You spoke to Dan?
I've been there for a while. Been there for a long time. He was occasionally trying to go eat to get out of the room. He stayed on it for a long time, wasn't he?
Oh, Clarissa, I'm so embarrassed. I don't even know who Gigi is. I get very little time to watch anyone else, guys. Isn't that a shame?
He said he was going to call you.
I did hear that Leo from 554 Camp Street's got a new video for us, an Adelson video being released in a couple of days. Just a couple of days, guys. Pretty excited for that.
Guys, when I got off the phone with him, I was going to call you in a little bit.
yeah, he did.
He did.
We were able to get through debris.
I took a break. Roller has like fallen asleep in her lap.
Okay.
She's like, when I was in a roller, I'm like, just don't say anything to him yet. There's no reason to.
No.
Yeah, I can't handle that. That's the honestly the only thing.
No. I know.
Yeah, how do you explain that to your 5-year-old child? I mean, I think Roman thinks that Charlie's been away on CIA missions or something, right? Or away on business, something like that. He's been calling him and not saying, I'm in jail for murdering your uncle.
You don't have to do anything now.
No.
But it's okay, Roman, because Daddy was set up. That greedy Katherine Magbanua.
The only thing I really wanted to do is be a good dad in my life. Just to be a dad, have a son.
I know. Believe me, I know.
Yeah, take something to relax. That's almost as Charlie Adelson as what was the best one the other day when he was speaking to June? You're either stupid or you're lying. Oh, doesn't that just sum up the man right there? You're either stupid or you're lying.
I really wanted to be a dad. I mean, when I was with Brianna, I dated her for 6 weeks. I found out she was pregnant 6 weeks after we'd broken up. And I was like, no, I want to keep it. I want to be a dad.
I know you do.
I know, Kelly. It's like, what is Dan supposed to do now? I mean, no, I'm going to call Dan. He'll be the one to sort this out. Dan's like sitting in there going, listen, yeah, you can hire an appellate attorney, but I wouldn't put too much money into it because it's pretty hard to get anything done. It costs a lot. You can make a life in here now.
Yeah, I know, Charlie. I know.
Take a breath, Charlie.
Take a deep breath, Charlie, please.
But honestly, I'm like, I don't know if I'm in a state of shock.
Yeah, you're in shock.
Well, Pretty Lies and Alibis. That's Gigi, is it? Okay, I have seen that on occasion. Yeah.
We're all in shock.
Yeah.
All in shock.
I had a feeling though, so it's not like, listen, I've been up in Tallahassee for 1.5 years. I mean, I got a taste for how big this case was. I had no idea. There was no way in hell I was ever going to get a fair trial up here. No,
but that's
way in hell.
No.
Listen, even with the jury consultants, they ended up using X's on people that were like fucking horrible. Like not even like selection. It was just like get the people off that you like. I mean, honestly, I sat there and like the same people that I said, let's X off our jury. To be honest with you.
Can you imagine? He keeps going on about jury selection, about how he couldn't put X's and everyone was horrible because it's Tallahassee and they're all fucking hicks and they're all law enforcement and everything like that. Let's say for a moment that Charlie is allowed to pick his own jury of anybody he wants, 12 people, anybody he wants, not even, you know, the random pool of jurors that come in for selection, just anybody on planet Earth, right? Who are those 12 people? What do they look like? What do they do for a living? What ethnicity are they? You know, it's what would be his perfect jury? You know, I'd love to know.
The same thing with the jury consultants were like, yeah, you can't have these people on your jury. So it wasn't even like picking good people. It was about just keeping the fucking horrible ones off that we could have come on. There was no like, every time I said, oh, this one, I had the same numbers down that we had to get rid of this. Yeah, I had all my paper that they had to get rid of. There was no, you know.
I know. It was, listen, these people didn't deliberate. We know what happened. They were decided before they went back, filled out their papers, and came out.
They didn't deliberate because they couldn't. They couldn't even use a pencil. Tallahassee.
That's not a deliberation. They looked at
a couple things. Got on it. They probably ate for an hour and then talked about some stuff. Went through this paperwork, filled it out. Because they went all the way to like, I guess 1:30 with the opening stuff.
I just picture these jurors going into the deliberation room saying, so do you want to fill out the guilty forms now or maybe lunch? Should we have lunch? A lot of paperwork to fill out. And then we'll get back to the guilty paperwork after lunch.
They probably took lunch till 2:30.
Yeah. They didn't deliberate. They did nothing.
No.
They did absolutely nothing.
When they came in and I saw when they came in this morning and nobody looked at me, I knew because they'd already made up their mind.
Rabbit Ink. The winning color for Georgia was FSU Garnet with a pretty close second behind being not crocodile, alligator green.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wish I went with my gut instinct in life.
Dan did a great job. You spoke well. They listened to nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Don't we have any trolls in the chat? I feel left out. Come on, someone in the chat, come and tell me that Wendy's innocent because she's pretty and they've been watching court TV.
They cut and pasted emails. They cut and pasted lines from text messages and gave it their own meaning. You know, like, oh, kissy face. Oh, like.
I saw what they did. Oh, it's a mistake.
Yeah,
like it's nothing.
It was like, I don't know. It was like the clip, like they dressed it up into something it wasn't. They just. I don't want to talk about it. I'm in shock. I'm partly in shock, partly not surprised, partly just certain things that I don't want to go into, but I just wish I went with my gut instinct. My gut instinct was, I wish I would have gone with my gut more like, what it's about, right? You guys take care of yourself. I mean, I'm not saying I needed you guys getting sick out there. One more thing on my head.
Yeah, no.
Yes, I don't have much. You know,
I know.
I don't really have much in life anymore. So it was something happened to you guys.
Yeah, well, we'll be fine.
We'll stay tough for you, Charlie. We'll stay tough.
Stay tough, Charlie. Stay tough. Put on your best prison face. Make someone your bitch today.
Couple feeling, you know, again. I don't even know what it's going to be like, but I did ask Dan. I said, could they put me in? Could they maybe get me in some protective? It's called protective management. Where people are like that. I guess have high-profile cases, or people that are like police officers. When they go into custody, they put them in certain areas, but they can't put them in general population.
Protective management for police officers, pedophiles, and people that just will not shut the fuck up about meaningless, long-winded analogies. Hey, did I tell you about my theory on Godfather 2? Okay.
I heard there's camps that are like that. I'm in shock. He said they're going to work on that. They're going to work on the appeal.
Right.
I mean, listen, it's such a high profile. You know, it's like you have to get an appellate lawyer. It's such a high profile case that, I mean, listen, everyone's saying all the right things. Listen, I had a gut. I really did. There were about 45 out there. And,
let's see what develops. Just let's be patient.
Yeah, well, trust me, the judge gave these people plenty of warnings. I'm sure they followed their little instructions.
I'm sure they did. Yeah.
So listen, these are people who took a Catwoman. These are all people from Tallahassee. There's no way there's no way if Mr. Clinton are a rock. There's no way you don't know about this case. You know, this is the biggest. This is like this is the biggest case they've had up here since the 80s.
Crime and coffee. I'd trade the 5 minutes with Charlie Adelson to have his sister tied to a chair for 1 minute. Just give me a pair of pliers and a blowtorch, and I will administer justice. You know, I will make that minute the best minute of my life.
Charlie, they weren't listening. They weren't listening to anything, because if they had a brain and they were listening, it was very clear.
If they had a brain, if they had all of the brains in Tallahassee, it wouldn't add up to one Miami brain. But then maybe we'd have got it through because it was all so clear. Dan did everything right. He tore Magbanua apart in front of a crowd. Oh, the disconnect with these people and reality. You see, this is what happens when you're raised never to face consequences for your actions, right? Charlie gets in trouble at school. His dad comes into the principal's office and donates a new fucking library or something. You know, maybe not that much, but you know that strings were pulled and he was always just weaseling his way out of trouble his whole way through life. He's been, what do you call it, exploiting people his whole life because that's been his guidance, right? And now he's all shocked and shook up and he just ignores all of the evidence. We did everything right. I answered all the questions. Kappelman didn't know. She was desperate. She was frustrated. No, she wasn't.
don't listen. They just go. They just do. They don't listen.
Yeah, and they're hammered with someone like Georgia Capitol, who makes it real simple for them.
She didn't even. She had no evidence. She had nothing.
No evidence, no nothing. These people, these stupid people, they don't listen. They just do. They just go. They see the guilty form. Y'all think guilty, vote guilty. Use your common sense, y'all.
They had emails. Look at the emails. Oh, look at the emails. Which is,
emails that never mentions anything about danger or violence.
I trust me. I know it's not how they're not for the use of the paint.
Yeah, they didn't mention anything about violence, Donna, but they did expose you for having a brutal, sadistic, pathological, obsessive hatred for a man, to absolutely want to crush him emotionally, mentally. You know, they showed all that, Donna. Didn't they, Donna?
It's a different picture. It's a picture. You know, I mean, Jesus Christ, they made a deal about me calling the whole line. We've had it since 1979. Like, he only lived there for 3 months in 2014. So we were only there 90 days in 14. They were in a chart going to 16. Well, yeah, it's because the house was sold in 15, and you're only there 90 days. I mean, there's nothing special about calling my home phone, but they put up a pie chart, and they made it look like there was something very suspicious about calling you at home.
Right, Charlie. Well, what about when you were on the phone with Erica and the FBI were in the dental office asking for Katie Magbanua's work records that didn't exist, and then you said to her, "Are they there right now? Okay, I'm going to call you back from a payphone." When we put it together with that bit of evidence, Charlie, we begin to build a picture, okay?
Just like you said, they painted a picture without evidence. That's what they did.
Yeah, they literally, they had a theory. I don't know what to talk about anymore.
Yeah, there's no point. There's no point right now. Hang in there.
Wow, did I just hear Charlie Adelson say, "I don't want to talk about it anymore"? Wow, that's refreshing. Can we end the call? So, have fun. Find a bitch.
I can't really talk on it. Even though this is a call you on a landline.
Yeah.
Right.
I know.
Right.
All right.
So it's only for the night that they moved me over to E1 because when you get convicted, they notice sentences like this. They
I'm not
like,
say that again. They're moving you?
no, they already did it. When I came back to the jail, they had to roll up my stuff and they moved me to E1.
And
But
what
at
is
least
that?
they let me keep my clothes. I'm not in my regular cell anymore. They have me in a suicide cell.
Is it your own cell?
Yeah, it's my own cell, but it's got holes on the wall and shit on the ceiling. I can't see the glass. It's got a video camera.
Got piss on the floor, blood on the wall, and shit on the ceiling. Well, it sounds just like your apartment in Venice.
People fucking screaming.
I know, I hear 'em.
And I'm just like in my little cell, like a solitary green cell with lights on. I can't see out. Like I said to the officer, put me in here. I'm like, listen, I'm not suicidal. But I guess whenever you're convicted and stuff, they put them in one of these for observation. The chief of the prison can come talk to me tomorrow. They have a therapist come talk to me tomorrow. I'm not suicidal. You can't leave me in here that long. You crazy looking yourself. They know they can talk to you in the morning. I'll probably get moved back to my pod. I guess a precautionary thing.
Yeah.
What's that, Tracy? The call from November 9th. Is that a good one, is it?
Oh, God.
That's what they just,
Not even believable. Unbelievable.
I don't want to say no way to any of the fellow lawyers. This case is so big. It was so publicized. So this isn't some guy trying to get an appeal on the case. This was like what had to be sold.
Yeah, Cheraz. Background noise in prison. I wonder how long it takes for that just to become, I guess you tone it out after a few weeks, a few months, a year. But just all of the crazy noises in prison. What a drag forever.
Up here, they had live coverage. They had, they pull out all the stops. It's not something.
I know what they were
not making a mistake. You know what I mean? It's not like, we thought for some minutes you got started back on appeal, or the judge made a super ruling. They were dotting every I and crossing every T. I love you guys.
I love you, Charlie.
I love you, Charlie. I love you.
Look,
I love my
Get through
whole heart.
tonight and get
Please.
through tomorrow, and just call us anytime, please, okay?
Yeah, no, let's take something so you don't end up having a heart attack tonight, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Listen, I love you guys a lot.
You've got a life sentence. Your parents are both going to have a heart attack on the same evening. And your sister, what is she up to today? She has to be singularly focused on the boys during this difficult time.
A lot, okay?
I love you
I
too.
love you, Charlie. My whole heart. I love you. Please. I love you.
Understand, just take care of Roman for me and keep an eye out for him.
You know I will.
We will.
I know it.
And then
Charlie.
ask Wendy. By the way, I wrote Ben like a month
Yeah, we'll both be dead before he's 10 years old, but we'll keep an eye out for him.
ago. He never wrote me back.
I don't. I'll find out.
Yeah. I'll ask.
You know
Yeah,
what?
no. How's Wendy doing?
Dan Rauschbaum's already blanking him.
I can't talk to her. I don't know. I don't know.
You haven't talked to her?
I did not talk to her. I can't do it. I can't talk to her. Anybody else but you and Dan.
Yeah.
Listen, I love you guys a lot, okay? Everything's gonna be fine. I'm gonna be strong.
I know you will.
And Dan's gonna look out for me. They're gonna try to. I already told them, so don't harass them about it, because I've already spoken to them, said it twice, and they said they're definitely gonna look into it and do what they can.
Exactly. I know. I know.
Yeah, we'll look into it as soon as we can. I mean, we're not in a rush. I mean, we've got time. It's not like he's going anywhere.
Say that again.
Yeah, about the protective, trying to get me into the protective management because of the publicity on the case.
Right.
And look, I don't want you guys. I know you're upset. I just don't want you guys getting sick over there.
We won't. We won't. You just be strong, okay, and then we'll be fine.
Yeah. You're strong.
I've been dealing with this for how many years now? You know, it's like
I know.
now you get what I listen. I haven't been myself. Listen, for me, for how many years
This guy was making $2 million a year. Big house, fancy cars, all the toys, all the stupid toys he could want, jet ski, fancy restaurants, women, And what did he get? Now he's in jail forever with nothing, eating shit. And what did he get? 2 spoiled kids that live in Miami that aren't even yours. Oh, what a plan. What a plan.
For how many years I had, like, it was hard to be normal with everything going on. Like,
I
it's
know.
kind of, you know, and I still try to work, and it still works, and it's still like I don't think nobody ever got what was going on in my head. And I can tell you,
No, I know that.
nobody ever knew. But I always had like I said, I always had a feeling.
No, I know that.
Yeah, young black economists, we're getting ready for the trial.
I know that.
I remember, honest to God, I remember the last time that we all went to the sushi room and we were taking video. You don't really want to know what I was thinking in my head.
Mm. We'll take care of Roman, but just hang in there. Okay?
Hang in there, Charlie.
I'm good. No, listen. I woke up today in jail, going to bed in jail. Nothing changed for me. You know, unfortunately, we didn't win. I don't even say it. I'm still in shock. I'm still, honestly, like,
I know.
I cried a little bit when I got in the cell, but I'm like, I'm still.
You're strong. You're strong.
It's set in, but it hasn't set in, and it just,
Of course not.
it doesn't feel real. And it's almost like, if it makes any sense, it feels like it's no different than it was yesterday. I'm just in the same cell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like my worst fucking nightmare, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I know, Charlie. I know. It's for all of us. It's for all of us, Charlie. It is for all of us.
I don't even know what to say.
I don't know what to say either.
It's totally,
We're here, Charlie. We're here. And anything that can be done, we're going to try to do. You know that.
no,
Oh, we're here, Charlie, in our mansion in the sky, booking tickets to Vietnam. Okay, we're going to leave a package for Roman, and we're going to have your dog humanely put to sleep.
I know, but don't do me one favor and don't get sick. Like, I know. Listen, tonight, please take something now if you haven't already.
We already did.
We did, Charlie. We did.
Yeah, we took something already. We took something at breakfast, and then a double dose at lunch, and we're just finishing off the bottle in the evening.
Take another one. But listen,
All right.
I love you guys. You're my parents.
I know.
I love you, Charlie. I love you.
We love you more than you.
But
Hang in there. I don't want to make you cry. So you just take it easy tonight, okay?
again, if I want to quit tonight.
Yeah, call us anytime.
Anytime.
We're up.
Anytime, Charlie.
Okay.
Please, anytime.
Okay. Okay.
Love you. Love you.
Yeah, I know, Derek. The complete omission from Charlie's speaking here of anything to do with Katie. No anger at Katie. No, like, that fucking Katie Magbanua set me up, ruined my life, took away my family, my boat, my jet ski, my millions of dollars, and now I have to sit in this shithole forever until I die. That Katie Magbanua, you'd be crazy about this if it were true. It's so transparent.
Love you.
Bye, sweetheart.
Love you.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Love you guys.
The caller has hung.
Hey,
Hi.
Hi,
how
Charlie.
are you guys?
We're okay.
We're all right.
Yeah. By the way, I only have like $15 on my phone.
On your phone.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Okay. I'll take care of it right now. I'll take care of it right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I called Michael. I talked to him for like 20 minutes.
Yeah. No,
I can say he texted you guys.
you did.
Hey, thanks so much for the support, Crime. Thank you very much. And Crime says, thanks for the live, True Crime Metrics. Hit that like button on Everyone, yeah. Exercise those thumbs, guys. Hit the like. It's good for hitchhiking. A really big thumb.
What about commissary or eye care? What about those things?
I got food for.
What is this thing with his eye care? He needs eye care? They've got special eye care? I mean, if you need it, you need it.
I'll get the food when I get back into the pod from the guys I gave it to. I'm not that hungry. I got chicken tonight. Chicken that I ate. And they gave me 2 packages of tuna fish back. They'll give me my food back. Last night I thought I may be getting out today, so I gave away all my commissaries that I had saved up.
Right.
But the 2 guys I gave it to, I'm friends with. They'll give it right back. It's not. They're not keeping it or anything.
Yeah, they'll give me back my 3 cans of tuna and 1 apple.
But I'm just in this one cell for the night. So they just have me like, yeah, I'm just in the cell for the night in the morning.
Coffee, anybody? Speaking of which, it's 4:21 a.m. If anyone would like to buy us a cup of coffee to support the channel, you can do so at buymeacoffee.com. Link in the description. Patreon membership, fantastic Patreon memberships, guys, available in the description with amazing benefits, right? Merch discounts, benefits, early access, blah, 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 blah. Link in the description. And social networks, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and everyone's favorite place to be, Discord. It's free, it's fun, and it's forever. Link in the description, guys. Or there's super chats, super likes, super thanks, super subscribe, super YouTubes, super metrics. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Morning, the chief of the jail is going to come see me, and they're going to have they have like nurses that come and they they're going to ask me a bunch of questions. I mean, I'm not suicidal, but I guess they just do that so they don't have a problem with you have you under observation. I understand why they do it, but I told the sergeant to put me in here. I said, if you keep me in here long, I'm going to go fucking crazy. Like,
They'll let you go back. They'll see you're okay. They'll let you go back.
Yeah, no.
Well, Charlie, it's okay if you go crazy, okay? Because you're in a locked, secure room. If you go crazy, you stay in the locked, secure room until you wear yourself out, go to sleep, and we'll let you out in a few days. Okay? Your cans of tuna and apple, they're gone. Okay? Your buddies, they've been having a party with your tuna and apple all night long, and it's gone. You're going to have to face that. But you know what, Charlie? You'll find tuna again. It will come. Your future will see more cans of tuna.
I'm fine. Listen, I woke up in jail. I'm back in jail. I've been here for a year and a half.
Yeah.
I guess that's very, very, a very big swing of emotions to go from like thinking you're getting out.
I know. We were all set.
Yeah.
I can't.
Hi, Joanne. How you doing? Good to see you.
It took a whole bunch of clothes from a couple of weeks ago. I packed up a suitcase for you, so that when you came, I had it ready for you to go to a hotel with it. And I had everything ready.
Never understood this. Why would he get out of prison and go to a hotel? Wouldn't you just want to go home? It's like, no, I need something really more exclusive. Can we call the Four Seasons? I need a room at the Four Seasons. I mean, that sounds like a drag. Okay, going to a nice hotel is fun, sure. But I don't know. I think if I got out of jail after a year and a half, I'd just want to go back to my own place.
Ready for you. We were sure you were coming out.
I didn't, honestly, the way I've been in Tallahassee for a year and a half, I could tell the temperature up here.
Well, yeah, okay. Lego person says Tallahassee's far away from Miami. I mean, I don't think he wants to stay in a hotel in Tallahassee. I think he wants to get on the next flight to Miami. It's only a couple of hours, not even that.
How everybody knew who I was. This was not a case that I was. This was not a normal case that was. This was a special.
Yeah. Harvey and Donna would probably insist on driving all the way up to pick him up and then drive him down in a day. What is with that? It's a control thing, isn't it? Harvey doesn't want to take a plane unless he can fly it himself. And he tried. They wouldn't let him. He showed him his card from the Board of Dentistry, and they said, that's not a pilot's license. Sit down in coach.
Special case.
I know, honey.
Yeah.
I know.
Soap's right here, Lolly77. She just had a big yawn and is now having a late night snack.
This was not. I said it. I knew it. You know, I should have.
Oh, sorry, we just had another bit of support from Esmeralda. Thank you so much, Esmeralda.
I knew I should. I knew what they wanted to do. You know, I stayed, and I saw it coming. I saw the freight train coming.
Man, Clarissa H., can you imagine sitting next to Daniel Rashbaum in a car for 7 hours? Oh, man.
Probably fine. Like I said, it'll be fine. Gotta be strong.
You gotta be strong.
Yeah. Just like the stars.
That's what it's doing, Charlie.
What?
What's that?
I'm saying we'll try to do everything we can to help you.
Don't give up, Charlie.
No, I'm not giving it up. I just listen. This was Tallahassee Super Bowl. But when I sat, you know, it's funny. I was so optimistic and everything. When I sat this morning and I saw what she was doing in the clues, and I kept writing down notes like, she's lying. Like, she's lying. Like, she's making shit up. Like, she's making.
What did she make up? What did Georgia Kappelman make up?
Issues of things that are not related to anything. It's not even evidence. They're just saying it's circumstantial evidence that I called my parents phone number. Like, and they put together an impressive.
KG, I was literally going to say that, but I already pressed play, smelling his fingers the entire trip down to Miami. Yeah. One hand on the steering wheel and then index and middle fingers right under his nose.
Pie chart that the 10th grader could figure out there's something special about it. But she made it out to be special. Everything was special. Everything was boom, boom. You know, Wendy's book that she wrote became like, you know, Wendy put it down Tallahassee. Wendy never put down Tallahassee in her book, but she kind of spun on to be like,
She did not.
you know, the way Wendy looks at Tallahassee, like it was like Wendy was putting down Tallahassee. She wasn't putting down Tallahassee in her book. But it's the way it was, you know, you take the text, and you take the email, and you take the book, put some more pictures of emails up, and you got the show.
I know. Believe me.
And I'm sitting there, I'm watching the show, and you know, at the end of the show, she's quoting Ryan Fitzpatrick, who I didn't know in 2014. Giving information on 2014, and I'm like, what the fuck am I watching?
That's funny, Amy. Hey, Soap, did you hear that? You were played in a nice restaurant in Baltimore today at a birthday.
Watching, like I spoke to the guy twice in 2014. He was my best friend in 14, evidently.
Evidently. I know, I heard it.
Like, I'm like, Like you was 114. And then they say, listen, whatever the thing that he gave instructions is told me, like, whatever the prosecutor says or the defense attorney says in closing, it has to be construed as evidence. It's not presented as evidence. They're just summarizing things in the case. You got to listen to what you heard during the trial. It doesn't go like that. These people just look and listen to the closing, and the way everything was like spun at the closing, I was like, this isn't reality. If these people are watching this is not reality, but they had this 2-hour production.
Yeah, she lied. She lied several times. I know. We all quit it.
Like it did. You know, each person, you know, has their own. It's like everybody who walks in has their own agenda, or you know, or a bone to pick, or a tail to spin, and everything.
Everyone who walks in has their own agenda. Well, I think that is the nature of a trial, right?
Just gets taken as like face value. Like I feel like a fool for even thinking or letting people convince me that I was gonna.
Hey, we've just crossed. We now have 2024 subscribers, so we've just met the current year. So every subscriber we get from this point on is a future subscriber, or a subscriber of the future. Hit that subscribe button, folks, and the like. We've got room for about another 50 likes before we get 100% rating on this video. Help us out, help yourself out, help us, help you have a better world, a better future. More Adelsons in jail, more likes.
That I was gonna have a shot. I really feel stupid. God, you know, they say, go if you've got instincts that don't look at anyone else. That's. You hear me? Hello? 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 Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
The caller has hung up.
Hey.
You couldn't hear me. I knew something was wrong. Yeah.
No, I couldn't. Did you hear me saying hello?
No, not at all. Because I was doing the same thing. You didn't. Yeah, it just went quiet.
And the bars didn't go down on my phone.
Yeah, I love Camille Vasquez in the Amber Heard trial when she's like, another liar on the stand, Ms. Heard. It's brilliant. What a lawyer.
So you've got what? The same, they take your mattress and put it in another room?
Yeah, I rolled up my mattress and I got a blanket and it's just in another room. So it's like a solitary cell. You know, it's got a camera in here, it's got curtains and glass, and it's just got a bed. You know, I'll have contact with anybody. Hopefully people won't be all night.
Different floor or same floor?
No, picture of my pod. You can't picture it, but there's like a contact. My pod's got, is it 2 stories? You know, it's got a second level.
Right.
So it's got a second level and then a first level. And then on the halfway to the bottom, there's a concrete wall. And then they have all the suicide on a quarter pod underneath all the cells up on top. So it's like set up just like the pod is, but it's got a whole wall that divides it, and then it's got there's 15 adults back here, 6 men, 6 women, and they got cameras in each one of them, and they have an office that sits and watches all the closed circuit cameras in each cell. And then that's so there's a toilet, a sink, and it's got a bed, a slab, rolled up my mattress, just like they brought it in here, and it's you know, for tonight, and I'm sure 5:30 in the morning, they're probably going to bring 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, you're going to versus with 6 o'clock. She can probably come through at some point, check me out of it. Hopefully allow me to go back to the pod that I came from.
Yeah.
That I'll be there for at least another 30 days. And then I'll be transferred. I just thought I was going to get, honestly, I thought I was going to get a fair shake. And I never, put it this way, I never thought I was going to get a fair shake. I got led to believe that I was going to get a fair shake. And
Okay, there's a brand new poll in the chat, guys. Let's see what that does.
started to believe it myself. You know, I just,
Dan is right. Dan is writing to me while we're talking, Charlie.
Yeah,
he said, hang in there. We're going to continue to fight. You just stay with it. Not giving up on you. Just wait.
They actually think they're noble, don't they? We're going to continue to fight in the face of this corruption, this wrongful conviction. They didn't listen. We need to make them listen. We need to get all of the brains in Tallahassee and put them into one member of the jury.
know, it's just a big case for Tallahassee. It's not your normal case comes back on appeals and they let a guy go like that.
Yeah. Was he flying back?
It's a big case in Tallahassee. Well, yeah, I guess it's sort of a big case. It's 10 years old. It's had 3 trials, building attention, multiple defendants, shocking crime in a neighborhood that's, you know, where that's unusual. You killed an innocent man who was known and loved. Of course, it's exactly where it should be in line with the amount of attention it's got.
Back to Miami.
He drove.
Oh, he drove.
I mean, I stayed.
Yeah, he drove. He couldn't. He wasn't allowed to take that amount of cash on the plane, so he had to fill the trunk of his car with all of the money, with all of the Adelson money, and then drive it back to Miami. He's got $100 bills flying out the window, but he doesn't care because the trunk is stacked.
Around because I thought I would get a fair shake. But that's not what happened.
Oh, now he's going to say fair shake about 500 times.
I know.
You know, it's like I should have stayed around for this is not something like I don't know how. I mean, I just don't know how Dan was so optimistic. He was very optimistic, which I appreciate. But
because the case was good, and he was good, and you were good. It was the jury, honey. It was just what you said.
There was no jury in Tallahassee that would have let me go. That was never going to happen. I mean, we were like outsiders up here. Let's put it that way. We were definitely outsiders and looked at as like people from another planet that shit on Tallahassee. You know, when she started doing that whole thing about Wendy's book.
Well, that's accurate, Charlie. You've been shitting, you and your whole family have been shitting on Tallahassee. You know, 100% for more than a decade, man. You know, Wendy can't even go to the movie theater without complaining that the movie theater in Miami is better. You know, how fun would that be to go on a date? Jeff Lacasse is taking Wendy on a date. Hey, how about dinner and a movie? Yeah, okay. Oh, just complaining about everything. Jeff Lacasse says, frankly, it got old, right? I bet it did get old.
I know. Are you kidding me? I know. What does that have to do with anything?
Well, paint the picture.
That's what she
You know,
did.
like, what are you doing? Why were emails with constant, like, theme? You probably lost 80% of this. Listen, you never win. You have to get it. The best thing to do is, like one of the guards was saying to me, he goes, the best thing to do is hang. You have to have unanimous. I mean, 12 people have to vote your way. I mean, you think you're going to get all 12 people to vote your way? You're crazy. Not up here. The best thing to do is hang. If you hang, then you do it. The best thing to do is hang. If you hang, you stay here. You stay until they retry it. And they get another bite at the apple.
Yeah.
You know, like, these people fucking hated me. I mean, they looked at me like, like some guy that's making $5 million a year.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
I know you weren't. Well, they're not finished, this family. You're just the start.
Well, I know.
Look, there's nothing, as you know, there's nothing you can do right now. You get through the night, you'll see these people in the morning, you get back to your cell. I'm going on to secure a check that adds the money to the account, so we'll be okay. And you need commissary money too, right? Commissary and...
Like the commissary, man. And I probably hold off on that. I got commissary money. I just need to get all my shit out of the way.
Well, check tomorrow and see what you have, and you'll tell me what to order for the eye care, okay?
Yeah, hold off until next weekend to order it. And then I think the first camp I get to, I don't think you can order commissary or something. We go a little bit without commissary. Trust me. Until I know it's safe for me to get stuff on my hand. Like wherever I go, until I know that it's safe, I'm not going to be ordering like I have, Like I have my own cell, my own badge.
You said you're going to probably go back to your own cell tomorrow, right? Charlie? Hello?
Yeah, sorry, the bars just went down for a second. I'm back.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I thought tomorrow you'll go back to your own cell, right? The private cell?
Yeah, I should. I'm going to be in Leon for
a month.
I'm going to be in Leon County at least for another month because then they have sentencing, and then they'll move me.
Okay, food items included in commissary are soups, tuna, beef sausage, mackerel, salmon, chili. Federal prisoners can also purchase stationery and mailing supplies such as postage stamps, paper, envelopes, pens, pencils. Inmates can also purchase clothing items, including t-shirts, tank tops, shorts, boxers, briefs, socks, shoes, thermal shirts, thermal pants, knit hats, baseball caps. Copy cards and typing supplies are also available. Typewriter ribbon. Wow. When was the last time anybody bought any typewriter ribbon? Correction tape. Typewriter wheel. Typing paper. Snacks include chips, crackers, popcorn, cheese, Little Debbie's products, trail mix. Drinks are instant coffee, soda, drink mixes, and tea. And then we've got these other items: batteries, shampoo, conditioner, black ink pens, Chap It lip balm, close-up toothpaste, copy paper, correctable ribbon, correction tape, cotton swabs, dental floss, denture cleaner, denture cup, Dial or Dove soap, disposable razor, Effagrip denture adhesive. Wow. We're living it up now. Hairbrush or afro comb. Oh, how inclusive. Heritage roll-on deodorant, Master Lock nail clippers, Nextol skin lotion, Print Wheel Pro-Line moisturizing conditioner, reading glasses, shaving cream, shower shoes, soap dish. You hear that, soap? Toothbrush and writing pads. Huh. Not much of a selection then.
After they do sentencing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm only going to be here for probably a month, and then they usually do sentencing, and then they usually move you, like,
Hey, thank you so much, DB's Run 3, for the very generous super chat. DB's Run 3 says Beetlejuice is shocked that he couldn't fool one juror. Not Katie or Lewis' testimonies. It was the stupid Tallahassee jurors' fault. Smart, beautiful women like Georgia and Sarah undoubtedly scare the crap out of Beetlejuice. You know it, right? Just the demeanor, how Georgia carries herself. I mean, she walks like a walking hammer, right? Just fantastic. I love how she is totally unfazed by anything. I've never seen her get rattled once. You know, sometimes she acts like she's rattled, but she does that for effect. She's fantastic. She's my favorite person on planet Earth. I think I love her.
the following Tuesday. Is when the buses come.
No, but thank you again, DB's Run 3. That's really appreciated and a great way to support the channel. Thank you so much.
Then they move you to like an intake center. You learn all the stuff like you have to do. Kind of like they keep it like military. How they want things done. And then from there, they'll tell me where they're going to ship it. Somewhere we pick apart. So, last thing I need is for you guys to get sick of, because I don't really have much else.
You're gonna be fine, Charlie.
Yeah.
I just need you to be okay. It'll be fine.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say the shot. I'm still in jail. I was in jail yesterday or jail today. I'd be more comfortable if I was in myself.
Right.
More comfortable if I was around the people that I talk to.
Right.
Walk around the little rec back area.
It's already 9:30. They'll put the lights out at 11, so hopefully you get to go to sleep. And
this time, well, I haven't had that.
they don't shut the lights off.
No, but I can honestly, I've gotten to the point I just put my head underneath the blanket, and then it's dark. I've got a sheet, and then I've got a thick blanket. So I do that, and then I can sleep.
Okay.
So no, I'm in here, and it's just pacing around. They don't shut the lights off. They got the cameras on you. They have a guard sitting watching the cameras. I don't know. I just literally was really thinking I was getting out.
We all did. We all did.
That's
just a shock.
Like I came to believe I was getting out, but like the contributor in Tallahassee wasn't time. You know what I mean? It's just like like the way everybody's reacting to everything. It was like everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid too much.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I should have.
I know.
I would say trust your gut instinct.
Yeah.
Hey, Annie G, better late than never. Good to see you. Okay, let's have a look at our poll, guys. It's a pretty resounding yes. Donna Adelson will take the stand in her defense. I was kind of wondering after that show the other day, when it seems pretty clear that Mr. Morris and Mr. Rashbaum want the jury to see Donna face on for the whole trial, that they're going to be really selling hard on this frail, old, maybe she was guilty, but do we want to lock her up forever? She's got to take care of Harvey, who can't find his own pills or teeth. And, they're really going to be pulling on sympathy strings of at least one juror going, oh my God, it looks just like my mother who's dead now, and I can't send this lady away to jail forever. That's their only hope, right? Yeah, I was thinking after that maybe Donna Adelson would be smart enough not to take the stand in her defense, because George is going to tear her up. No sympathy from Georgia, right? She's sharpening her knife and fork, constantly for the next 2 weeks. She's done all the prep. She knows the case inside out. She's going to tear Donna up, right? Oh, man, it's going to be brutal.
Should have trusted my gut.
I know.
Instead of listening.
Your gut's always right.
People.
Your gut-
Yeah. No, and then I have people convince me otherwise, and then I'm like, oh, okay. No, cool. Should have gone with my gut instinct. It was so, trust me, it was so on, it was ridiculous. Like my gut instinct was so on, but I didn't trust my gut. Like, what we get it. Got a good gut instinct. It's a good gut instinct.
Yeah, I know.
I trust it. I do when I was sitting.
Hey, how are you? Thank you so much, Ryden, for the support. That's really appreciated.
Eating sushi with Roman that last time that I was with him. Like when we all went to sushi in Weston.
Yeah.
Remember, you know what I'm talking about?
Now he's going to talk about having sashimi with a 3-year-old. There's something funny about that. Hey, I got nothing against that. Start them on the good stuff early, but it's kind of funny, right? Going to a very exclusive sushi restaurant and not even having sushi, having sashimi with a 3-year-old.
Yeah, I look at the pictures all the time. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know the video when I'm eating sashimi with him?
Yeah.
I swear to God on my life, I knew when I was sitting there taking the video with him. I just did. That's what was going through my head. Wasn't enjoying the moment as much as I was thinking, like, life that was on video. Really, I had a weird, like the turtles. It was weird. It was almost like an out of body. I felt like it was out of body experience while I was doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like it just.
I do. I was there with you.
Like I was there, but I just felt like this was like I was literally cherishing every moment. More so than I should have been for you, especially with my kid.
This is code, right? There's some topic of conversation that he's referring to without saying it that happened in that sushi restaurant. You can just tell.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's all my head is just trust me.
I'm sure it's
I want you guys to take care of yourself because I don't have much else to manage my life with now. Worse if something happens, guys.
I know.
So, like, you need to take something to relax. Like, take something to relax.
Yeah,
Don't,
we will.
don't, you know what I mean?
I do, sweetie.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Where does it end, all this take something to relax business? I mean, they're just a bunch of addicts, aren't they? Take something to relax, but it's okay because we get our drugs from our prescription pad.
I know.
So I know we're going to figure out a lot of shit in the next couple of weeks anyway.
Right.
Today's not the day to figure stuff out.
Not today. No.
I'm honestly, I cried a little bit myself, but I'm more just like, bigger shock.
You're in shock. I know. You're in shock.
Okay, you know, it's very,
You know?
This video, Joanne, of course, the Fantastic Metrics video.
Oh,
I mean, I just hope
just,
you're talking about what's that?
I was just
You
going
have
to
to
say,
talk. Yeah.
just hang in there, please, because
Yeah.
things might change.
No. Things can change. I mean, miracles can happen.
That's right.
But it's number one in the case is that we have to get moved out of Tallahassee. I mean, it was an absolute joke when I was sitting there. Fucking, you know, it was a spectacle. It was literally a spectacle. Out of 152 people we had come in, 93 were honest enough to say that they already, what they knew about the case, revealed their biased opinion. We had 5 people on the jury with law enforcement in their family.
With law enforcement.
Hey, Mr. Pinto Peabody. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Pinto. How kind of you. That is really appreciated. And we appreciate all you guys. And we think it's great. We think it's great. And we will be releasing some more in-depth content coming up in the run-up to Donna's trial. Not just commentary. Sometimes with these videos, you know, it really depends on the content, whether there's much to talk about or not. Sometimes you hit it, sometimes you hit the rocks. But yeah, we're going to be putting out, but also special guests. We're going to be, or maybe will be a special guest on with 554. We've got a collaboration coming up with 554 Camp Street, and hopefully Crime and Coffee. I don't know if she's still here or not, but hopefully we'll get that right on soon. And share ideas, share knowledge. Knowledge is power.
Enforcement in the family.
Yeah. Like, I had a guy that was a 20-year sergeant in the Army and then retired in the post office 20 years. Or working in the post office. 20-year sergeant in the Army. Like, 20 years black sergeant from the United States Army. Like, you're not looking, like, how is a 60-year-old retired sergeant from the Army look at me? Like an alien, like an outsider. I mean, I was a total outsider up here. This was not, nobody could have won this case up here, let's put it that way. Not even, I mean, you think Dan could be that wrong?
You know, I guess
Like, you're going to have 12 people vote your way to get out.
Yeah, I know.
They didn't have one. They didn't have fucking one.
You could only make so many X's. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the X's that really need to be used, they're X's. They said, oh, it's kind of Charlie a fair shake. Get him out of here. They used their 12 to get anybody that would have given me a fair shake that they threw. I used their 10. I used my 10 to get rid of people I needed to get rid of. You know, but I still don't, I mean, I know it's the system or whatever, but like, I still don't understand how they can be taking so many things that have nothing to do with the case, from like the whole phone number to email to people's statements who have like vendettas, like, and then like present them like, oh, this person said this person said this person said you're arrogant. You're so arrogant.
Shit. Microphone on mute. Sorry about that, guys. Shiraz, thank you so much for the super chat. Shiraz says, thank you. Thanks for reviewing this case and bringing along a whole new crop of Markel justice junkies. That's what we're here for, Shiraz. We're building an army, 500,000 strong, and we're storming Tallahassee. Leon County, here we come.
He's so arrogant. What makes me arrogant? He makes a lot of money.
They're just trying to paint the picture.
Yeah, they throw some adjectives. You know, you think you're untouchable. I never said I was untouchable. Someone described me as that. So now you can keep referring to me. Okay. Well, you're painting me like that, and then you throw that adjective there, and then you spin it.
You didn't say you were untouchable, but you acted that way. You know, we heard you in the call with your mother where you were talking about getting pulled over and how you got away with an illegal tent, no license, and a gun under the seat because the stupid cop has an unwritten rule and believed you when you lied to a law enforcement officer and told them that you worked in the ER at Broward General. Because if that cop takes a bullet the next day and sees your evil face above him on the operating table, he's going to be worried, right? So he let you off because you're above the law, Charlie. Yeah, you're untouchable, Charlie. Okay? You don't have to say the words, Charlie. Okay? It's in your actions.
You come up with a fucking chart that shows that I call the home phone number only, 99.8% of the time. I never call the home phone number. What can you call? I'm saying it's all lie.
The prosecutor knows she threw in lies. She knows exactly what she did.
Crooked Kappelman. Crooked Kappelman knows exactly what she did. Lie after lie. Painted the evidence. Painted the picture she wanted. The hometown girl brought it home.
Played games with a jury and got it. That's what she wanted.
And she's a Tallahassee person, and I'm not. Very simple. I just, you know what? Part of me is just mad at myself because I saw the freight train coming. It just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we know what you're saying, Charlie. You're telling your mother to run like you wanted to do, because this is what happened, right, guys? As soon as Katie and Sigfredo got busted and it was all going like that, and then they were on trial, Charlie was like, I've got to go. I'm moving to Israel. I'm moving to Morocco. I'm moving to Vietnam. I'm moving to a non-extradition country where I can have as many underage prostitutes forever in peace and not face the music. And then all the other families said, no, look, we've got to stay, because if you do that, that'll be consciousness of guilt and expose us, and we can't all flee, so you'll have to stay here, and even if you get arrested, we'll make sure we'll get the best jury selection consultant. What did they call him? I don't know, whatever, you know what I mean. Josh Dubin. We'll pay $1 million for Josh Dubin. We'll rig the whole trial. We'll take Tallahassee by storm. They'll never see it coming, and we'll get out of this. And then, we've got your back. And it didn't work. And now he's telling his mother to run like he wanted to do, right?
Yeah, we know, Charlie. We know.
I know exactly what you saw.
So, retaking the day off tomorrow. Work. Sherry called in.
What's that crime? What is pulling a crime and coffee?
Get a fire with it, I understand. She's pretty upset.
Yeah, I know.
For a while.
I know.
Did you talk to her?
We've been texting back and forth.
Oh, the mute mic thing. Okay, I got you. It's all good.
I couldn't talk. I didn't want to talk to anybody. Talk to you and talk to Dan. That's it. I don't want to talk to anybody else. But I texted, and I know. I understand. I know what happened with her.
So I didn't call her again. Really, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. Both of
Like, not even. I just don't want you guys to get sick over it.
We'll be okay.
Jail sucks. It's pretty common knowledge that jail sucks.
Charlie.
Try to keep it together, Charlie. Try.
Really, we'll try.
Do everything you can.
Yeah.
You haven't talked to Wendy at all, have you?
I told you, I'm only talking to you and Dan tonight. I don't want to talk to anybody else. I just can't.
Did you text?
We're drawing to a close, I think, guys. How many minutes we got left? 10 minutes left. Okay, Discord. Everyone come over to Discord for the after party special. It's going to be a riot.
Is that at all?
I just texted. Just when the verdict came in. That was it.
What?
Just when the verdict came in.
How was she?
What?
Very upset. She's very upset.
Serious. Serious.
Oh.
Joanne, do you really think that was Wendy coming into Crime and Coffee last night going, everyone thinks she's guilty because she's pretty, and she's so pretty and nice, and everyone is jealous because she's pretty, and they say she's guilty. And they said that on Court TV. Yeah, they said that on a reputable news network.
Yeah. What do we got to watch?
I love you so much, Charlie. Please, I love you.
Just be strong, okay? Just be strong.
Yeah.
And we'll be okay.
No, listen, I'll be strong. Maybe call Bree again.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I want to call Janice. I may call her for 2 minutes just to touch base, but that's it.
Yeah. If Bree's still up, I know she'll call you. I know she'll talk to you.
Anyone think that Wendy Adelson has given her brother one phone call, one letter, one deposit into his commissary fund? Anything at all? Any acknowledgement? Nothing, right? Nothing.
They talked to Janice for a few minutes. I don't really.
If you don't feel like yourself, that's all.
I'll call her. I'll call her.
Okay.
I really thought I was going to get out.
I know.
What else is going on?
That what you just said to me.
Yeah.
Hey, how come we've got a Mrs. Skytroop and Skytroop? Are you actually husband and wife?
Not myself.
Not myself. Not myself.
I'm having that talent.
You talk to her and then try to put your head down and just try to take deep breaths, you know.
I'll be all right.
200 in the stream. Congratulations. Oh, we just dropped back down to 197. All right, we didn't ring the bell, so it doesn't count.
Take one day at a time.
That's right. Yes, you will.
That's right, Charlie.
Hopefully I'll get to see you guys soon at some point.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
I hope so too.
No, I will. It'll be not as soon as I want it, but
We'll see you soon, Charlie. We'll talk every day. We'll see you soon.
I'll talk to you guys every day and just, what priorities do is I just want to.
We'll talk every day, Charlie. That's going to be so much fun. We're going to tell you to take deep breaths, stay strong, don't give up, and a whole bunch of other meaningless platitudes. Look forward to it, Charlie. So, same time tomorrow. Hey, the two, all the way from Banff.
Take care of Rome as best I can.
We'll make sure that happens. And have faith, because there's a chance there's a chance that this is going to change. So just have faith, okay?
Yeah, no, I do. And listen, you never know. It just has, it has, in order for it to change, definitely has to leave the out of Tallahassee. The jury selection was
a joke.
sham.
It was a sham, actually. It's a sham.
It was a sham, and like.
So if Harvey could make contact with a juror and pay that juror $1 million to say, what could the juror say? That he researched the trial? What could compromise the integrity of a jury member to the point of getting a retrial? That he had been threatened by the state? You know, that'd be a very serious charge if the juror got found to be making that up, right? I mean, what are your grounds for appeal, Charlie? The judge was impeccable, and by your own admission, gave you leeway on several factors that he really didn't have to. He gave you a lot of room, right? Daniel Rashbaum would make objections that really weren't valid, and the judge would let them sustain them, you know. The prosecutor is bulletproof. The jury were all doing their job. No one made a scene in the gallery. The evidence was stacked. What are your grounds for appeal? Don't give up. Give up. Accept it.
Like, if I would have known that she was going to be able to do what she was doing with, you know, making the case about text messages and emails and Jeff McCall statements and Ryan Fitzpatrick statements and, you know, make a whole case out of it. Jesus.
I mean,
I did not think that.
The lying was so obvious. I don't understand why they couldn't see it. It was blatant.
Well, it's not that. I mean, look, you should go to book. You think anyone on there has
Hey, Donna, here's a piece of paper and a pen. Write down a list of all the lies that Kappelman said in the trial. You know? Just give me 5. Give me your top 5.
read a book in the last year? I didn't even read Wendy's book, but like, how many people have, I mean, like, someone writes a book. I mean, what she say in the book? I mean, she was putting down Tallahassee in her book. She was foreshadowing some place that they were stuck in. Like,
Yeah, right.
if you took out 90% of what she was saying was just utter fluff. Like,
Yeah.
it was just painting a picture. I mean, you trust me, this was not.
Can everyone hear Soap snoring? The new people in our community have been getting really confused by this, guys. Every day I've got comments like, "Oh, do I hear snoring in the background, or am I mental?" It's the dog, our sound controlist, a Labrador called Soap, who is the same color as a chocolate cake and 3 times as yummy.
She wasn't putting on a trial. She was putting on a show. You know, I mean, I thought it was going to be more fact-based than like show making.
Yeah. Only one side had facts. The other side was just blatant nonsense and lies.
Email.
Yeah. Yeah. That's evidence.
What about the text message where I said there's 5 reasons why Wendy shouldn't buy a house in Tallahassee? How about the one is that a house is a pain in the ass? There was constant maintenance. How about 2? I thought my house appreciated in value by 50% by the second year I owned it. Like, I mean, there's 5 reasons. They made it have to be like, aha. It's just like, they didn't look at anything.
I'm sorry.
because they didn't look at anything that they had said, to be honest with you.
Love the bit in Daniel Rashbaum's closing where he's saying to the jury, "Don't take my word for it. Go to the wiretaps. Exhibit 3S. 3 minutes and 34 seconds. Don't take my word for it, Tallahassee." And like all the jurors are just sat quietly waiting for this to be over, not writing down the time codes.
And it's really a sinful. He presented well. He did a great job. I mean, there's no complaints on that part at all. Nothing.
No, I know he worked hard. There's no doubt.
And they're such idiots for continuing to say that Dan did a great job. If you're found guilty for murder, you turn on your attorney instantly. Even if it's just all pretend, you preserve that avenue for appeal and say that you had ineffective assistance of counsel, you're not happy with how you were represented, and you start listing all of the things heavily weighted from the perspective of fault. Yeah, you don't continue going, "My attorney did a great job. He was impeccable." Because that's your biggest opportunity. That's the only opportunity that you can really control and sell to an appellate court is how you felt about your defense. You can't say, "No, the judge was bent and the jury were morons and the prosecutor lied." You can't control that and prove that, but your opinion about your attorney, how they represented you can own that a little bit. You've got some leeway because it's an opinion, right? You're not happy because of this. You don't continue to go, "He was wonderful, Dan Rashbaum, amazing, that he presented well." You turn on him instantly.
This case was never going to be one Tallahassee. Never was this case going to be one Tallahassee. That's the only thing I can tell you that's positive, 100% positive. I just kind of, I didn't expect that from the prosecution. You know,
No,
I thought it was all the show.
It's such a joke with no evidence what she could pull off. It's just because that's what they wanted. That's what they wanted.
Well, listen, they painted a picture. People hated you from the picture they painted, and it made the rest very easy.
Shameful.
Look, the number one thing I can't have is you guys get sick. Please.
I promise. I promise we'll be okay.
Well, she's held up well enough in jail in terms of illness. I mean, she doesn't look very good, but she's not had all of her meds. She's not had Harvey's prescription pad. She's had shitty food, no exercise, no comforts, nothing, not even a backrest on her chair, right? Just a stool fixed to the floor. And she's not got sick with all that stress.
Yeah, take extra Xanax, take a deep breath,
Yes.
relax. It's not worth it. Take a little less. You might as well take a little more. Just try to relax.
We will. We will.
Yeah, I love you guys very much.
I love you very much.
I love you too, Charlie. You know, I've always loved you. I've always loved you.
We'll take care of this, Charlie. Work through it, okay?
Yeah, I'm stay strong. I'll be fine. Stay strong. I'll be good. I'm getting myself tomorrow. Move around a little bit.
Okay.
I'll be all right.
Okay.
I'll tell her just to give you guys a few days before you come.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
I'll tell Janet you'll call her at the end of the week.
Yeah.
So you guys feel a lot right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I love you, sweetheart.
Love you, Charlie.
We'll talk tomorrow, okay?
All right. I love you a lot. Have a good night, okay?
I
No,
love
I
you.
love you, Charlie.
All right.
Good night.
Love
Good
you
night.
too. Love you guys. Have a good night. All right. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
The caller has hung up.
Okay. Last short one.
Hey, guys.
Hey, honey, I
Charlie.
just added that $100, so it should show up on your
Oh, okay. I just didn't know if you did, because I called Janice and said you got $10. So if it doesn't show up tonight, it'll show up tomorrow. That's fine. I just wanted to remind you, because I thought maybe you forgot because you were home today.
Oh no, I just did it literally as we hung up.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. It'll be on there at some point then.
Yeah, if it doesn't show, I mean, they already sent me. Let's see, let me see if the confirmation is through.
Does anybody remember how much Charlie was going to pay for his go-kart? You know, one time he was just heading out, going go-karting with the guys, and he was going to buy his own, right? Because he's always wanted one. And now he's pissing around looking for $10 to buy some shitty shower shoes from the commissary. Oh, how much was that go-kart? It was like 10 grand or 20 grand. It was more than 10, wasn't it? I think it was like 20 grand.
Don't know what it is.
No, don't worry. I'm sure you did. I can always call you court. You're on that court.
I have a lot of money on mine, so call collect. But I just got the confirmation, so it did go through.
Okay.
All right, honey.
All right. Listen, I love you guys a lot. Take an extra stand and just relax, okay?
We will, honey.
We will.
We will.
I
All
love
right.
you.
I'll call you tomorrow. You guys have a good night, okay?
We will.
Call me call us anytime,
Okay.
please.
Love you.
All right. Love you guys. Take care.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
The caller has hung up.
Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and turn notifications on so you don't miss the next one.
Hey, thanks so much to Phone Calls from Prison. I'll put a link. There isn't a link to that video in the, well, we've watched it here, but this is also great. Everyone should subscribe to their channel. They've got 77.7 thousand subscribers, guys. How wonderful for them. We'll get there. We'll get there. Just another 75,000 to go. Okay. Oh, there was only 3 grand for the go-kart? Huh. Where did I get 20? I must be thinking about something else. I have no idea how much a go-kart would cost. Yeah, okay, great. Thanks to everybody in the chat for your comments, your contributions to the polls, and everybody should join Discord. Fantastic Discord, everyone's favorite place to be. Link in the description. Is that where we're going now? I usually go over to Crime and Coffee after the show, but she's having a day off. So who else is on? I'm so awake when we finish these shows. It's 5:23 a.m. and I've been up since 1 o'clock in the morning. This is crazy. These night shifts, but it is the coolest part of the day. Okay, yeah, we're going to close it down for the night, guys. Bit of a long one today. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow, I guess. For now, though, be kind to each other. Don't be an Adelson. And have a safe drive home. All right? True Crime Metrics out.